Okay, and hopefully we are live and everybody can see us and all of that. We're just coming from on YouTube today because I could not get the Facebook thing to load properly. Been having issues with that for the last couple hours at least. Um, so hopefully YouTube is going to hold out and everything will be fantastic. But anyways, hey, welcome everybody to the show. Thanks for coming. We got a pretty full house tonight. There's me, of course, Game Master Roger in my neighborhood. We got Jason to my right. To the right of him is Chloe. This is my daughter. I don't know if you guys have. I know some of you guys have met her and know who she is. Um, Below her is Matt. You guys know Matt. He's been here before. And middle bottom is Ducato Stan, whose microphone is hopefully working still.
Hopefully.
Yeah, there it is. and and then directly underneath me is Mike with Thunderstruck Workshop. Fantastic 3D printed terrain and all sorts of fun stuff. So, Mike, and while we're on that, I want to tell you, I tried assembling. I print and assembled a bunch of those torches.
Didn't do well.
You're selling them for what? $10 a piece
Yeah.
on Etsy.
Yep.
I think I'm going to buy a few of them from you
Uh,
because I put 8 of them together, and I think 3 of them work.
so,
And by me, I mean I it was a group.
so I
effort.
will tell you, Tom's method. I followed his guide, and
Yeah.
then I did it totally different because his method didn't work for me. and trying to put tape inside of there once you've glued it together is a lesson in futility. I'm sorry, but that tape is like it sticks to everything, and it curls up on me.
All right, I put I put 2 together, but nobody knows about the first one. The second one I got together, it worked, and then when it got to the game table, it didn't work. And then, like an idiot, I just decided, oh, I'm not going to use it at the table at all because it didn't work when I could have just used it as the torch, but I couldn't get it to turn on right. And then Ken was Ken was really going
How
and
much
tried.
tape? How much tape did you use inside of it? Because I used I think when I put it together, I put 4 pieces on the bottom, or 4 pieces on the top, and then like 5 pieces on the bottom.
Oh wow, yeah, not that much.
Yeah, well, it gets good contact.
Yeah,
and the battery stays in. It's got good contact.
So I don't know. No, Ken, you're amazing. He lined them up and did the assembly line and put them together while we were hanging out Sunday. So,
and
but
they
yeah,
didn't work.
50-50.
Is that Ken's fault?
I don't think it's Ken's fault at all.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's Ken's fault at all. No,
At least you're not passing the buck.
No, I think it's the way that we were putting them together, the way that they're getting assembled. Like you said, I think Tom's method doesn't. I think it needs more tape and stuff like that. But
I like them, but the design isn't great.
Yeah, no, they're cool, and I don't know how else to.
The people that bought them from me, I sent them all a message about them saying they're brand new. They're not tested much with me. If you have an issue, just let me know and I'll fix it. Because
I thought I heard you blaming it on Daggerheart fans or something like that.
Oh, it's Daggerheart. That's what it is. That's what it is. Thank you.
So it is Ken's fault.
It is Ken's fault. So what? Yeah. Before we get into the main topic, what's new with you guys? What have you guys been up to? What have you guys got in the mail? What have we backed on Kickstarter? But I guess we'll go around. So we'll go to Jason.
I got a couple of things in the mail.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell they're called anymore, but they're the Shadow Dark magazine things. I think it was Mike that was talking about them last week.
Oh, you got those off Amazon?
Yes.
Yeah.
And they immediately infuriated me.
Why?
They are not the same size as the Shadow Dark book, and they're not full book size. They're this odd size that don't match. They don't fit in my cubby back there. They don't fit on any of my shelves properly, so I've got them laying flat on top of a box. And every time
Yeah.
I buy them, it makes me angry. And I'm like, I wish I had not gotten these. But other than that, they're fine. They were interesting. I went to a local game store and I saw this on the shelf. I already told Roger this little tale of woe. I'm a big fan of the Legend of Five Rings. I really liked fourth edition. I had most of the books, played it a lot when I was in Alaska, but then when I moved to New York, I couldn't find anybody to play with, and I needed to trim down, so I sold all my books. But I saw that box set and I thought, cool, I'll check it out. Let's see what it's got. It's not good. It's a fantasy flight production. It's got their proprietary dice that everybody grumbles about.
So it's Genesis system.
Yeah, but I opened it up and like I started paging through it and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm not feeling this, and I couldn't figure out why. And I was thinking about it today, and it dawned on me, it's fifth edition. It doesn't use the fifth edition rule set, but it's all flash and no substance at all. It is just not for me. So kind of lost out this week. Kind of a bummer, but what are you going to do? Not a big deal. Let's put it on the shelf and never look at it again. Or I'll give it to Roger for the auction. There we go. That's what I'll do with it. It'll be gone in June. I won't ever have to think about it, along with those two stupid magazines.
Oh man,
that's all I got.
I thought I said that they weren't standard size.
You probably did.
Yeah.
But I hear something like that. I'm like, okay, it's no big deal. But then I get them. I kind of like the reality sets in, and I'm like, oh.
Paul is saying the 4E L5R books, $200.
Yeah, they had a very short run. It's like I was saying before when you and I were talking about just this box set. It's a very niche product. It doesn't have a huge appeal, but the fan base is really solid on it. And so man, I wish I still had all my fourth edition stuff. That was a good product. Really liked it.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know what that's about. Chloe, what do you got? You got something today, right?
Whatever you've bought in the past, and you gave me this weird book. Don't know what it is. I don't know why. It's still sealed.
That is Shadow Dark, young lady. Verse yourself well in it.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, they. I talked to Kelsey at Page, and talked to Mike online, and they worked out a deal with me because I'm teaching some kids some stuff about gaming and all of that, and I'll go through that in a little bit. But yeah, it was a good time, kind of pertinent to today's episode. But yeah, we'll talk about that soon. That's been a good time. Matt, what do you got? You said you were grabbing a pile of stuff.
Yeah, I did. I got some old stuff in. I think I told you about the one. So I've been slowly over the last few years. I haven't gotten into the BX and D&D box sets that I sold 25 years ago, stupidly, because they're too expensive. But I have been slowly getting all the original books.
Nice. Yeah.
So I am almost done with. I have all the orange spine. I have one to go now on these, so I'm excited about that. So that was nice. I was a local guy, and then I think I told you at Page I was hunting for a good condition box set. Same thing.
Oh, nice.
I have the Dark Sun, but I didn't have the Ravenloft. I got a really nice condition box set for a decent price. So
very nice.
That's cool.
Kind of randomly, somebody was selling. This is like I didn't have this one. I have the first and second edition, but this is like the enormous 20th anniversary one that they do PODs on. Someone was selling this for $30. I couldn't pass that up. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So no Kickstarters really. But I was spending my money on old stuff instead the last few weeks. So
we I know Jason and I we backed Streets of Magic. I don't know if we talked about that last week.
Yeah, I saw that was live. Yep. Yeah.
Vix game. Yeah.
Oh, I've been backing stuff on Kickstarter and BackerKit like a fool the last week. There's been all kinds of good stuff going up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Zine Quest is dangerous.
Yeah, I try
is
and
still-
like not look because there's a lot of good stuff, and you can get into $10 zines, but it's like, oh, you can get the whole set is printed on special paper and sealed by the Pope for $99 plus $20 shipping.
Yeah.
Some of it's good stuff.
Matt, with your original cover first editions, are you getting it because you just want them on the shelf, or do you like those covers better?
Well, I'm getting both. I'm filling out the collection of all of them. I started with just the orange ones, and then I got a good deal on a couple of those. And I'm like, I don't like having an incomplete collection. It irks me. So,
Okay.
yeah. And I have like the 2E stuff. I picked those up. So it's just it's stuff that I wish I wouldn't have. I wish I wouldn't have sold 25 years ago. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it makes me happy when I see them on the shelf.
Yeah, it's like a fool or like a Roger. Yeah, he's no fool.
No, I'm not.
Crippling
I
sickness.
don't. I'm not like a Roger. Roger's a whole another level of sickness. I have like a curable sickness. Roger's is incurable. So
It's terrible. It's terrible. You guys should see the Kickstarter that showed up to my house this week. We can't talk about it on air because it's something for Gene that's not gaming related directly. But we'll talk about it when it's here and assembled and all of that, and if she doesn't kill me. But we'll see.
It's a lot
Stan,
to ask for, Dad.
Yeah, Stan, how about you? What do you got?
I got all the. I ordered off drive-through all the modules for Tales of Argosa that they have.
Yeah.
I got those, which was nice. And I also I'd ordered. They have this thing called Oracle tools in that game, so I got a set of the dice, which I don't know how they work yet, but I got to read up on it.
Oh, cool.
And I backed that Crooked Dice Miniatures Kickstarter. I backed that the Drow Patrol,
I stayed away from
which is
that.
based off Otherworld miniatures, which are based off the miniatures directly from the monster manual that Matt just showed.
Oh boy.
They're beautiful,
Stop
but I can't do it.
Is it just the miniatures, or do you get STLs, or
No, just the miniatures.
just the
They just do
miniatures? Okay.
miniatures. They're metal miniatures, with the exception of
Cool.
a couple are done in resin.
What I don't like is they state. I don't know. Did it state in there which ones are resin? Because it does say they're a mix of
The
white
spiders,
metal.
the spiders are resin.
Okay,
They show it in the Kickstarter.
but yeah, it's not
The rest of them are
STL.
white metal. No.
What,
They do. They're interesting because they do miniatures for all sorts of stuff. Like if you needed miniatures for V or Stranger Things, they have like miniatures of the kids, or Thundar the Barbarian, or Dar from the Beastmaster. They have a whole, and they do different genres, but they got at least part of the license to do Otherworld miniatures after the guy from Otherworld retired.
That's cool.
I think they actually helped Otherworld with their skirmish game too. They have a miniature skirmish game, and I think they helped with that.
I love their miniatures. At one point, I wanted to go and buy like the whole set of all of the pig-faced orcs, but once
Yeah.
you put it all together in a cart and realize you're spending like freaking $350 for about
Yeah.
30 miniatures, it just I don't know. They're pricey. They're beautiful, but they're pricey.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like Games Workshop pricing.
Right. Right. And considering I print all
Good
my own
stuff.
stuff, it's not
Yeah.
worth it for me.
What do you got, Mike? You have anything come in or new?
So it's funny, you talk about Kickstarters. Like
Yeah.
Matt said, he's gone a little nuts. So I'm looking at my Kickstarter page right now, and of course
Oh, boy.
the add-ons.
Yeah.
I backed the
Yeah.
the Secret Tomes core set, $150 for the 3 of them. The League of a Dark Few, the Shadow Dark Zine one. I don't know why, but I backed that Shadow Timer, the app. It was only $3.60
Really?
or something. Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
All right.
I backed that Cardras in the Hive zine for Shadow Dark, the 3 of them.
Yeah.
I backed Dark Space plus the 2 zines.
Yeah, me too.
Parallel Shadows. That's Zach and Jen Glazer's company there. That's their Shadow Dark. They got a Kickstarter for their first zine with the Shadow Dark adventure.
Yeah.
I backed Under the Hellfast Spire by Bob the World Builder. Monastery of Misanthropy from Tom.
Yeah, I back that.
Yeah, I back that too. Yeah.
Fomoria, the Adventure Anthology. And then today I added Tower of Rhymelight. So we sat down and figured it out, and not counting my POD stuff and everything else coming in, I've got $700 worth of Shadow Dark stuff just on Kickstarter right now.
Wow.
That hasn't fulfilled.
Wow.
This came yesterday. The GM Companion.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
This came yesterday. The Shucked Oyster.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff too.
And then this one, I'm not sure what I'm going to think about this one. Life Paths.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen that one yet. I've seen it out there. I haven't looked at it or anything.
This one's interesting. The player goes through and you follow these charts, and it's pages and pages for each class, and it basically comes up with a life path and basically makes a background for characters. It's nothing that I might use it as a DM for NPCs or something, but
Sure.
I thought I'd check it out. It wasn't much more for the POD than it was for the PDF, so I just got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
Other than
no,
that,
that's cool.
just been printing a lot.
You think that's fiddly to do that, to do like a backstory thing there? Or yeah, there you go. That's what that's what I was getting at, Ken. Traveler character creation for Shadow Dark.
Yeah, except you can't die.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it is.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know if you can use it.
I printed a bunch of stuff this week too. Printed a bunch of these. These are the ruined.
Oh, that thing's cool. I
Yeah.
was looking at that earlier.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't print just that without printing the regular ones too, the unruined
Yep,
version.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
this stuff will be at Central New York. I got to get these painted this week. I've got 2 of each tower here. I got tons of portals. I got all kinds of stuff to paint.
Yeah, what fun's a game if you can't die in character creation?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, good times. So yeah, I got some stuff. I got I backed this, and this came in today. The mycologist primer.
We know who that's for.
Yeah. So I bought the herbologist primer, and then they
Yep.
did a rock one, gemstone mineralogist primer probably, and then they did mycologist, and they're pretty cool. They have like a bunch of stuff in here, and they like it's real. I mean, most of it's real. Like like this is like with a mushroom or whatever called turkey tail, right? And so it's like here's like a real drawing of it, and it gives you like some of the properties and whatnot of it. But then it's it's got magical properties as well to it. So that's that's kind of that. What is
Restreaming, that thing's being weird.
why is Matt, are you trying to add are you there? Is he frozen? Oh boy. Sorry, Matt, you were still there and like frozen.
Yeah, I'm good now. Sorry.
That was weird. No, that's fine. I
Computer
was like,
gremlins.
wait, what? So I got that in, and this is something that Jean, like I can hand to my wife, and she would, if she would play, and she would love this stuff. And Chloe is even into some of the mushroom stuff and things like that. At least pictures of mushrooms. I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. How is that one? I thought the herbalist one was pretty cool. It's the
The herbalist
same thing.
The herbalist one is awesome. The mineralogist one is pretty cool. This one I just got today. I've only kind of flipped through it. It's pretty cool. It seems like they basically just expanded on the herbologist one into the fungi kind of category. Which I mean, it's pretty cool. I think like for like a druid player or something like that, or somebody that wants to get into the weeds. Like I didn't want to come up with all this stuff, for like the herbologist primer. So I handed the book to my wife, and she like started figuring out, oh, I want to use I wanted to use this thing and make a healing potion, and I can find, it says I can find this kind of grass in the plains, and I'm like, great, roll a wisdom check, and like, yeah, you got enough to make 3 or whatever, 4 like salves or salves or whatever she was making. It was cool. So that was fun, and I got my second shipment of the Pirate Borg stuff. So I
I
got.
haven't even gotten my first one yet. Why you
I
gotta
got
rub
I got
that
the
in my
starter
face?
set. Oh, sorry, Matt. So I got the starter set there, and then this I'm pretty sure says Cabin Fever,
Mhm.
and then the Down Amongst the Dead book there, and then I've got the map, and then some of the smaller adventure kind of booklets here with stuff, which is cool. So that stuff came in. I think the only thing that I'm missing now is the map, the neoprene water hex map.
Mhm.
That's the only thing that I'm missing. So other than that, I think that's really it. As far as gaming, we did, and this is pertinent to the episode. I did. Oh yeah, poor Joe didn't even get a shipping notification yet. No, just lots of credit card debt, Edgelord. No, so I've been teaching. I started teaching a class. It's a 6-week class to a handful of kids. There were 10 of them in the class, my daughter being one of them. And the first class, so I've got 2 hours a week. So I started with doing history. So the first kind of class I did was the history of Dungeons and Dragons. I started talking about chess and like different war games and, Prussia and all of that, and all the way up to, modern day, basically. And that was interesting. And so we're going to try some like older games and some newer games, some different systems and things like that. But I figured that was, pertinent to today's topic. So, but yeah, it's been fun so far. What did you think about it, Chloe? Did you enjoy it?
It was interesting. There's too many people with really long names.
Yeah, in the history, yeah.
But also my classmates were also stabbing me with mechanical pencils. So
yeah. So what about the class though? You think it was fun? You think everybody enjoyed it?
It was a good class. You've asked me that question 40 times this week.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but this is the first time I'm asking it live on the air in front of everybody.
It was good.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, other than that, Sunday we canceled the game session Sunday because we had a few people drop. So it was me, Joe, and Ken, and so we kind of hung out, talked about gaming, talked about the convention. We stopped by the hotel. We looked at some stuff over there for that. Looked at the conference room and played with. Watch Ken play with the torches, assembling torches. So that was a good time. It was a good time. Talked about the game a little bit, and then this Sunday, I think we're going to have our big Shadow Dark meeting and talk about how it went and how it's going to go, and we'll see where everybody's at. But what about you guys, Jason? I know you were out of town, so no gaming for you.
No, but I did have a really interesting gaming adjacent conversation on Sunday.
Really?
I was one of the people that was not available for Sunday because my wife and I went and had tea at a local historic museum from the 1800s. And so, we dress up, start like cosplay. It doesn't matter. So anyway, but they seat you randomly at these tables with who knows who. And a family sat down with us and we got to talking, and the husband was a professor of history and the wife was a science teacher, a high school science teacher. So the conversation started off really well. And I asked the professor, history, awesome, lay it on me, what you got. And last year he was on a dig just outside of a medieval city in Poland. And he was telling me, it's from, it's an early Christian cemetery. And I was like, so about 1100 then. And his eyes got really big. And he went, yeah, how'd you know that? So I had to tell him, okay, here's the deal. I play Dungeons and Dragons, and it's ridiculous. But when I was a kid, I focused more on the fantasy stuff. But as I've gotten older, I focus on the realism, and I'm reading all these books and all this. And I said, I'm reading through a book right now that takes place in early Christian Poland, and that's Baptism of Fire, which we talked about last week. So we started talking, and he's laying all these facts and names and dates on me, and I was eating it up with a spoon, man. It was an awesome day just talking to that guy.
Nice.
And I would have not had any idea what he was talking about if I had not been reading Baptism of Fire. I just thought that was amazing.
That's cool. That's cool. The timing of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chloe, no real gaming this week, right? You guys play a little like I don't know if you wouldn't consider role playing. It's kind of like LARPing though. You guys do that that game of I don't know, what is it? Killers? It's not Killer, I know that, but
They wrote me into a murder mystery game.
And you guys so you guys do
we walk around until somebody hits you and then you die. That's the whole point.
But still, it's a game. It's gaming adjacent. It's, I mean, realistic. I don't know. You've played D&D enough. I mean, that's really what people do is walk around and kill things. So it's not,
fair.
Matt, what gaming you've been up to?
Didn't really get any role playing in. I did play the Simon Stranger Things game. It's probably 5 or 6 years old at this point, but finally got that tabled with the family, so played that a few times. It's not bad. It's kind of like Horrified. It's like a pick up and deliver. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
And then I've been playing Absalom on Steam. I don't know if you guys PC gamers at all, but it's by the guys that made Streets of Rage 4.
Okay.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's like got its hooks in me so fast. It's like it's a roguelike Streets of Rage 4, basically. Like a fantasy, sort of like Golden Axe. It's so good. Yeah. It's great.
You're saying the only I'm not big on like the roguelite kind of games usually. I've played like a handful of them, but I love like Streets of Rage 4 and Golden Axe. Like I love those. So
yeah, you'd like it. If you like Streets of Rage 4, you'll love it. It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Two player local co-op or online. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, even Ken is saying it's good. So that's cool. Yeah, good times. Stan, what kind of gaming have you been up to?
Thursday night group, we just got together and converted our OSC characters to second edition to play Ravenloft. Last time we used OSC for it. This time we're going to use second edition. And then on Sunday, I ran my Cast Crusades campaign, so we got to play that. Session 80. Yeah.
Wow, 80. You gonna do something big for like session 100, or is it just gonna be another day?
They're gonna burn all their books in a pile.
We were talking about my son and I were actually talking about that because we were like trying to figure out the way our current schedule is. If we keep to that for the rest of the year, we'll fall just shy of 100 before the end of the year. So he was like, "You need to squeeze in like an extra session so we hit 100 this year, and then we should do something really cool." And I'm like, "Yeah, we should. Like, we should make a thing of it." So I got to I told Roger and Jason, I got to test drive my modifications to the CNC save system. That worked pretty well. So we're gonna keep playing around with that. But it was fun. I had 4 guys at the table.
Nice. Mike, how about you? Any gaming last week? I know you've been busy.
No. We I had 2 of my players cancel out in the last day before. So it was just me and 2 of the players. they still came over, and we sat and we sat around and talked. Went through, just like you, we had decided we were going to talk about the game, but we decided to use this opportunity to see what people thought so far.
Yeah.
They both like it. They want to keep going with it. They want to expand on it. We'll see, though. I mean, one of the guys is very much a 5e type of player. And
Sure.
He likes Shadow Dark, but he's playing a cleric, and he's already hating the fact that he can lose a spell, fail a spell. And, we have this conversation, and he keeps bringing up, like, oh, well, the players, you're supposed to do this and try and game the system. And he kept saying game the system. And I'm like, you are not making any fans with me because I hate that style of play.
Yeah.
Well, he goes, that's what you do when you play a game to win. I go, but you don't play D&D or you don't play to win. You're not playing to win. You don't need to game the system. Just sit at the table and have fun. And I'm like, you can't tell me you like the system, but then complain that you don't like you know what I mean? It's like, it's one or the other.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you don't like the system, speak up, because, I'm putting a lot of money into it, but I will switch to something else. I have lots of other things on the shelf here. I don't know. They claim they're happy with it. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
My other two,
hopefully it works out.
I don't know. I have a real lack of enthusiasm from two of my players, and it drives me nuts. I mean, they are the type that you don't hear a word from them. They're just ready to show up and be entertained on Sunday, and it kind of irritates me with 40, friends that I've had for 40 years, the fact that I don't hear from them all week until it's game time, and they're expecting to pretty much come and be entertained.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, and we've talked about that before. We've got all different kinds of players, and some of them are, and they've stated this out loud. They're players that as soon as they walk out the door, the switch goes off.
yeah,
And they don't think about their character, the book, rules, anything until they walk in the door again. Like that.
I mean, we've got 2 sessions in, and I was sick 2 weeks ago. And then this week we didn't play. So we had 2 weeks off. And in those 4 weeks, those two players have yet to read the rules. I gave them both copies of the quick start. And I took the core rule book, and I just took the players section out of it and made a PDF. And the one guy was going to print player copies for the table. He's got them. And he even told me, oh, I forgot them at work. And I go, so if they're sitting in a pile at work, that means you haven't even looked at. No, I didn't get a chance to look. And I'm like, yeah, but you had a chance to go to the brewery 3 times this week. And,
yeah.
I don't ask for a lot out of them. I just want some participation and a little bit of enthusiasm for it.
We got Brian Shutter in the chat. Just want to give a shout out and say, hey, thanks for coming and watch us.
We had a player like that. It wasn't Roger D. I mean, Roger and I were playing a game of The End, one of my favorite settings. And one of the other players had borrowed Roger's books, and she had it for 6 months. And when we started the first session, it was absolutely clear she had not read a single page in that book, and I wanted to throw her out the window. Oh my God, dude, if you're going to play in the game, please, if I'm DMing, do me the courtesy of just having the roughest idea of what you're doing.
Especially if you're going to borrow the book.
Right. Unless it's some it's an introductory thing. Hey, this is the game we're going to play this weekend. Everybody sit down and let's learn it. That's a different situation. But, oh boy, yeah, that chaps my ass, man.
Hopefully, Brian Shutter will be at CNY. High hopes that his employment lets him go. Otherwise, we're going to have to pull a heist, I think, and go up there with a pillowcase, throw it over him, and bring him down. Maybe I should have said that on in a public forum.
No pressure, no pressure.
Just in case, right? Just in case if something does happen to him. Now I'm going to be on the list. But Steven says, CNC looks really neat. It is. I like the system. I think it's I think it's good. We've talked about it before with pros and cons. but the system as a whole, I think, is really really well done. Stan, you mentions he keeps taking Hyperborea rules from it, and I think you're going to run into a Ship of Theseus situation here pretty soon. Like at some point, you just make the switch, man.
We're playing Hyperborea today, and nothing's changed.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about that because of that changing that or experimenting with that rule, and I was like, what? It would be kind of neat if Jeff just put out like he wouldn't have to do the setting part of it. He just put out like those rules, but then made it for a high fantasy game, with the added races and stuff like that, which would be easy enough to do, I guess, for anybody that wanted to do it. But that would be neat. He did a good job with that system.
Yeah. See if we can get some new players. We've actually got a new player that's going to be trial run coming in a couple weeks. Spoilers. You don't know him. No, we'll talk about it later. Spoilers. See, we'll do a trial run. What's this? A rollerball game? Yeah. Possibly. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. Possibly we might have someone running the rollerball game. I know I talked to Brian briefly about it at CNY. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. It was briefly mentioned. So maybe I shouldn't have said anything, but that might be cool to get that out there. I think people will play that. So what's this, Mike? This is
So I saw that yesterday.
Shadowrun 4th edition.
I don't know if anybody's interested, but it's all of Shadowrun 4th edition on Humble Bundle.
Is 4th edition? Is that the? I'm
supposed to be the
I'm
best one.
terrible.
Second and fourth,
That is
right,
the best
Jason?
one.
I've always heard second is best. I've only played second, and I could tell you the 8 million D6s to roll everything got annoying. But I don't know. I've never got into it much. It's one of those systems I kind of want to try, but I don't know. I saw that Humble Bundle yesterday. It's a lot of stuff.
It's like 90 books or something.
Hey, look at
It's
that!
crazy.
Jason sold a copy of Twilight 2000.
Yeah.
Went and bought it.
If you said that this looks very good, man. Once you start diving into it, it's so good. It is such a good game. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. I told you I've been watching the Glass Cannon podcast, their Shadow Dark one, and I think episode 9 or 10. I just watched it the other night, and they have an ad in there. They've been they run ads for their Delta Green game and stuff. They've been running ads for a Twilight 2000 campaign.
We Shouldn't Be Alive, I think it's called, right? I think they're I think they're 5 episodes in, give or take. I think that one's like a sub only one. I think you got a sub.
Okay, because I was gonna say I looked and I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to be a member of their whatever.
But you get a month free. I mean, you can do a month for free and listen and see.
Maybe
listen to the 5, see if you like it.
Maybe I'll have to sub and check it out. Do they have a lot of stuff that's sub only?
They have some decent stuff. Like Delta Green, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff on their channel. There's a lot of free stuff too. Their massive Neil Artep campaign. I've watched, I think, the first season of it. It was really good, and it's fun because I actually played that campaign. So it's like,
how much is the membership?
It's not a lot. I think you can pay like
$8 or $10 a month or
$10.
something.
Yeah, $10 maybe.
Their
It's not a lot.
Delta Green and Call of Cthulhu campaigns are free though. They're both on YouTube.
I think some of
they
the
have-
Delta Green stuff is gated. Some of
Yeah, it is.
the video ones I think are free on YouTube and elsewhere, but the audio only ones, which honestly are some of the best ones, are gated behind.
I
them.
think those first 3 seasons that are audio.
Did they move them over to free?
I think they're on Spotify.
Okay. Yeah, they're really good.
Originally, they did the first season of Delta Green for free, and then after that, it got gated.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was really good. Like they did a great job.
I like their stuff. I find them entertaining to watch. It doesn't feel like, I don't know, like watching Critical Role just feels scripted. It doesn't feel
What
like friends
really
playing.
worked for them.
This feels like friends playing.
Right.
The newest
Yeah.
episode was hilarious. It was
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
good.
there yet.
so funny.
What really worked
I
for
gotta
them, I
check it
think,
out.
is switching to Shadow Dark because they were Pathfinder mostly, and they were fun. I listened to their campaigns, and well, the first one, Giant Slayer, the rest of them I didn't listen to, but they would get really, really bogged down in the mechanics of the game, and they're not playing for a long time. Like they probably have like an hour of play time, sometimes a little
Yeah.
bit more. So like when you're spending 5-10 minutes of trying to figure out, how the hell something works. It's like they used to get bogged. They used to try to teach rules when they first started Giant Slayer until they got friends with like the Paizo guys, and they were like, "Yeah, not really that good at it."
You don't know the
So-
rules
Yeah.
at all, so maybe don't do that.
So
They probably
don't do
should
that.
try and teach rules because they don't even know the Shadow Dark rules.
The great thing about it was they switched it though, and they had this guy that watched, and he's really good with the rules. So he would like send them corrections after an episode. They had
nice.
a bit called they did a bit like every week called "We Are Stupid,"
We are stupid.
and because they would frig something up and they'd correct it. And
I
they're
definitely
good.
gotta watch some more of their stuff. I've watched some of their Shadow Dark stuff. It's pretty good, but
I saw
I
Matt.
haven't-
Matt did a little short apologizing for screwing up Magic Missile because
the advantage.
supposed to get advantage, and he was doing it wrong all this time. So he finally put out a short about it, and I saved it. And then this week when they showed up, Pete is playing the Magic user and screwed it up left and right. So I played it for him. I go, "This is for you, Pete."
So
Nice.
I think it's interesting, and a couple of you guys will get this, I think, but like if you ever want to see the difference between a DM that is like forcing himself to run a game system that he doesn't want to run versus like someone that's running a game system they're like currently head over heels in love with, like Troy LaValle running Pathfinder 2E and Gatewalkers was just so over.
They were miserable.
Yeah,
Like,
but I mean, he in particular was just like he was running it like it was his job, like not like it was something he enjoyed. And then watching him run Shadow Dark, especially this last episode, was like it's like just a total night and day difference.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
100%
I do know.
agree.
I think last night I watched either episode 10 or 11, and they had a whole discussion at the beginning of it saying that like, look, we're 10 episodes in and we've only got 2 experience and we haven't done this and we're doing this and we're spending so much time role playing, but we're not actually getting into actually playing the game. So I'm curious to see going forward how it changes because they did say they wanted to do more combat and do more things that actually take advantage
they
of
have
it.
to commit to doing a dungeon, right? They're sort of like exploring hexes, but they haven't really committed to like, clearly he's got some locations that are meant for more Shadow Dark geared adventures. So once they get into that, I think we'll see that a little more.
Most of their stuff was like because of the way the rules are, which this isn't a complaint, but it was like you said, exploring those hexes and then trying to survive. Like, oh, we got a forge, we need supplies because they're running out of supplies, and they just kept going. And and you'd see in the comments people were like, "You guys need to go back to town and carouse," but they hadn't really done. They weren't going to get much. So they do all right, and it's kind of a good example of how you can actually do Shadow Dark with a more long form style.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So if you guys were going to introduce a new player to the game, would you have him go to YouTube like before he showed up, he, she, whatever, shows up to the thing and say, "Hey, watch this character creation video," or "Watch this"?
No.
Everybody's shaking their head. No,
Not with Shadow Dark.
With any system, right?
There's
If
plenty
it's
of systems I might send them to learn a little bit about basic rules or whatever, but with Shadow Dark I would.
Yeah.
It's so easy.
Probably
to
just
run.
teach it at the table.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do it with any game because you just run the risk of having preconceived notions at that point. And you're like, here, watch this character creation thing, and next thing you know, they're watching Critical Role, and they think that's Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to be like snarky, but I mean like it's a YouTube feed. Oh, you like this video? You might like this too.
Yeah, sure.
So for me, that's what we're running into.
Yeah.
So one of the things like with that, like I taught my son how to play when he was little. He was probably maybe 7 or 8. He started playing, and then a few years after that, we weren't really as a group getting together much. So he wanted to like dip his toes into running games, and I asked. So he did. He'd run like one shots for me and stuff. And I asked him after a couple. I said, "Hey, how, because he was a big, he still is. He likes season 1 of Critical Role because that was the only season they did that's actually good. And I was like, well, did that hurt or hinder you? And he said it actually kind of hindered me because he's like, because between like watching Matt Mercer run a game and watching me run games, he's like, you guys just make it look easy, and then I have to do it, and all of a sudden it's like all the stuff you don't see, and as we all know, juggling all the plates,
Yeah.
and it kind of hampered him a bit. I'd like him to come in cold, and my son watched us play. He would come in and watch my group play, and then eventually I just started playing games with him. And he was young. He joined our group, but he played like an adult, like even as a young kid. Like
Yeah.
now he's 21. But
Yeah. Well, what do you think is the best way to get like kids into playing the game? I mean, I tried to start with like my daughter, like when she was younger. We played things like No Thank You Evil or things like that. They're really simple and fun.
I would say you gotta like find something that obviously appeals to them, right? And then go all in. Like when I started, like we were playing, actually technically we started with the 1E Pathfinder beginner box set. I bought that. That was actually a really good product. We started playing that and he really liked it. And then it was on me. I just didn't keep it going. And then eventually, I was running 5th edition and he joined, I started running it for him. And I knew like, and I think I've told this story before, but I knew I was competing with video games. So my thing was just to make it as immersive as possible. And
Yeah.
and I did it. That was like, miniatures, terrain, and a lot of like the role play stuff. And that really worked. The great thing about kids that I discovered through this was they're like sponges. So like if you show
Yeah.
them a way, they're going to, like, he and I would play, like I said, solo games. Like we'd play just him and I, and we would probably play like 5-hour sessions, and 95% of it was in character. And I remember sitting here one time after a game and we were talking about it. And I just told him, I said, dude, I'm really like, and he was young, like he wasn't even a teenager. And I was like, I'm just really impressed with like how you play. Like I'm like, most adults don't role play to the level that you're doing right now. And then he just kind of looked at me like I was stupid, get used to that look.
That's because
And
Yeah.
yeah, he's not too far off the mark. And but what he said to me was, he's like, I don't know any other way to play. That's how you play with me. And I was like, the light bulb went on and I was like, oh, okay. And yeah, I just tried to make it as immersive as possible and fun. You obviously got to make it fun, I mean,
Sure.
that runs for adults too, but especially when they're starting out, they want to have fun, and you just, those things that I thought they worked for me and my son, I guess.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that is the natural propensity of children to be absorbed in the moment. Whether it's a young girl playing house or a boy playing GI Joe out in the mud in his backyard, she is the housemaker. She is the princess. He is GI Joe. And so when you bring him and you sit him at the tabletop RPG and you say, you're Ragnar the fighter, here's your sword, have at it. That little boy or that little girl is Ragnar the fighter for that next 3 hours. And so I think when you start them young, you're going to get that full involvement so much better than you will if an adult sitting down and playing for the first time, who's, maybe a little awkward. I don't want to feel goofy or whatever. And that stops them from having fun. It stops them from playing.
Yeah. I think that's definitely more an adult problem than a kid problem. The adults
Yeah.
don't want to be like a weirdo. Whereas we're so used to being weirdos at the table. You know what I mean? That it doesn't bother anybody anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Chloe, what do you think about that? What do you like? Obviously we've played some games and stuff. Is it weird to act as like in character for you, or
Yes.
was it?
Mostly
Really?
just because it's a table with a bunch of people that I don't know.
Yeah, right.
That's
Right.
normal.
It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've ran for like her friends and stuff, and I think she seems more comfortable. But I've seen her in some of Matt's games, and I mean, Matt runs an amazing game. Matt, she doesn't stop talking about the Vaults of Varn game. You know,
I got
so-
high on crystal meth.
The
That's like-
stone, the
yeah.
mushroom.
yeah,
Not the one where you jumped down the first pit
awesome.
and made me run the whole module backwards. No, you don't talk about that one.
When did I do that?
That was awesome. That was the mork board.
The pit
with
fighting one we did.
weapons on the
Mork
hands.
board.
Ah,
We went through that backwards
that's great.
because you decided to jump down in the pit and go. That was
There,
supposed to be
the first
end.
room is like this. Second room is like this pit. There's this pit, basically a pit fight happening in the middle. There's like a pit, and so the idea is you can get thrown down it. And somebody was just like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna jump down the pit." So then we got to run them, and there's like the modules designed that if you go down there, you can circle back through. But basically, they just all jump down. They're like, "Well, I guess this is what's happening." So, and it's funny. Like that's what I was gonna say. Like I think when I think about like bringing people into RPG, especially younger people. The thing that makes it unique is compared to a board game, like if you play Monopoly or chess or something, it's like you can only move like this. You draw one card, you do this thing. It's all like hard parameters. And then a role-playing game, especially if you pick the right one, is like, what do you want to do? You can do whatever you want. And like, so for my son, like DCC was his gateway in, and he got to be, a fighter. So he has this deed die. And it's like, oh yeah, you can just say whatever happened. And he's like, I can just say whatever I want to. I want to kick this guy's spine out and have it hit this guy. And it's like, then that happens. And he's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, you're not used to playing games where you have that kind of freedom. So I think that was like really engaging for him.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, DCC is probably on my my short list for like teaching to kids or whatever, or bringing people into the hobby. Just because like it can get really gonzo and like crazy, but I think like it's light enough where people can have fun with it and be introduced to it, and you
can also make that obviously that gonzo can be fun, I would think too. I mean, I thought it was fun as an adult, but as a kid, like especially if you really leaned into it, like when it happened and got really descriptive with it and stuff. I know like this is kind of a secondhand experience, but when we were running big campaigns over at Crossroads, my friend Brendan, who owns the place, he would take all the kids and he would have tables of like 16 kids trying to run 5th edition D&D. And all he would do is he's really good at narrative games anyway, narrative play. They kind of developed this narrative style where they would like roll a die and he's like, okay, what happens? And they started to really lean into all of that and do all these things. And then one time, because my tables were like, and the other tables had more terrain and miniatures and stuff like that, they wanted to run a game. They wanted to play one game where it was more like that. And he ran one game for them like that. And they wanted to go back to the narrative style. So they really got into it. And some of those kids still play. Like one of them, he was kind of a little bit of a problem sometimes at the table, but he was also way more into it than we thought he was, because he had my friend Brendan for his birthday. He asked if Brendan would run a session for him and his friends, because they were still like wanting to play and stuff. So that was really neat. They really got into like the story aspects of it and things that would happen. That was really cool to see.
Edgelord Easy D6 is on my list too for something to be easy for kids or whatever. I think I think there's a lot of systems that are out there that'd be that'd be great.
There's a couple that are real good for it. I mean, when my kids were like 9 and 10, I started them with Hero Kids. And Hero Kids is like a super light D&D style game.
Yeah,
but if I remember correctly,
you're like the Scooby Gang or whatever.
No,
I think isn't that one or no?
No, they're it's got like regular classes. You have fighter, thief, whatever. But it's like they basically just have a little card for their character sheet. If I remember correctly, they rolled D6s for their attacks and whatever. It's really really simplified, but it was it was great for them, and they got these little adventures that are meant to be like done within an hour. Which, when you're talking about 9-year-old, an hour is probably pretty good. You're not bringing them into a 4-hour game and keeping their attention.
Yeah. So what? I mean, Joe asked earlier, how many how many people you think have gotten into tabletop RPGs because they're watched a random person online showing off their games? I don't know. I think that number's like low because I think
It might be way more these days, but when
Yeah,
we all
maybe.
started, none of us were getting players that came in because they watched it on YouTube.
no. This is how, I mean, this is literally how I came in. Was I saw the Earl Otis art on the
Yep.
Moldvay basic set and was like, this is amazing. I want it.
That's exactly how I got it.
And then
Moldvay
figured
Basic.
out,
Moldvay
you know,
Basic.
and then was like, oh, this is not a board game. This
Right.
is more than that. Like, what is this? And yeah, and that was great. So so I think definitely having a cool cover, probably less so nowadays. I mean, because there's reviews and stuff. I mean, I think the first image you see of a game, it really needs to evoke what
I think
the
it's
game is
huge.
about. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah,
I can think of like several games I bought solely based because of the cover art. That's how I started playing Pathfinder 1E. I love the art. Wayne Reynolds, he's awesome.
Yeah.
And, Dragon Slayer is another one. I had zero interest in that game until Greg showed the cover, the Jeff Easley cover
saw the
on
Easley
Double
cover,
B's
yeah.
podcast, and I fucking sorry, Corey. I instantly backed
you're
it.
all right.
Because I had no interest, no desire, nothing, and I saw that cover and I was like, I have to have that.
Yeah, you're good, Dan. She's
Oh, sorry,
she's
I try to be
released
better
more
one.
too much. No, you're
That
fine.
book is fantastic and the art is great, but for me, it just doesn't bring anything new to the table, really. When you look at the whole pantheon of BX games out there, there's many
Yeah.
of them that are very similar. They all have their little things with it. Dragon Slayer has a couple little things different. They all
It's
do.
basically it's BX with Greg's house rules. I mean, even he's
I think Paul was saying at one point that we need a few more BX clones. I
Paul's
think,
all about the BX clones.
I think he
Yeah.
was hoping that that all that was going to be made in the next several years is just a
Yeah,
handful
I
of
would
BX.
really love to see some developers make a game that's styled after, that's similar to BX in playstyle, but isn't just a clone of the rules. Let's come
Yeah.
up with some new rules,
Um,
but still keep the
Yeah, Ken mentions Nimble. I was looking a little bit at that.
I know I was looking
Um,
at it today, but it's still just
It's got
5e
some
light.
cool things. Yeah, it's 5e light, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know. But yeah, the Joe Block commercials. He does have some real cool commercials
Yeah,
for that. So
Are they better
Uh,
than the cheesy Troll Lord Games commercials?
yeah, I think so.
Those ones are pretty bad.
But yeah, I think it's cool stuff. Yeah, it's a problem. Like Necromancer's game sounds awesome. I looked at it. It's same thing, $130 on for the box set. It's I don't know.
And that's the problem. So Necromancer Games and Frog God, so Matt Finch has moved on. So he's got his own Swords and Wizardry. So they don't have that license anymore. So they're just going to make their own game
Yeah.
to fit that mold.
That seems to be the going thing.
I kind of prefer the mode that Jen and Zach took with starting a company and deciding to create for other games rather than create their own system.
Sure. No, I get that, but I think that's that's just the natural progression of things is, hey, let's make our own game so that we're selling stuff for our own game and not someone else's. And I mean, that just seems to be what everybody does.
Yeah.
So there's got to be something to it, right? I don't know. So yeah, it's interesting. When I started thinking about this episode earlier, thinking about like kids coming in and like, adults coming in. And I think there's a lot of people that have come in. Obviously, a lot of people came in, 2015 or so, whatever, right? That's when, Critical Role hit. And then shortly after the, Stranger Things and like people, and I think the Critical Role, people watching that came in because they thought it was over the top.
I think your real big boost was later though, around 2020 when COVID hit. And
Sure,
people were
sure.
sitting at home and couldn't play, So
Right.
that's when the rise of the online play really took hold.
Yeah,
And people were watching all these live streams and whatnot. And
I agree. Yeah, but
I think-
Critical Role was one of them, and that's when they,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, they hit their big stride. But people look at that, right, and so they end up coming into the hobby. And I've always been like, they call it the Mercer effect, right, where like people watch, and then they see all the stuff and they think, oh, D&D should be a big production and all of that. When we run games for new people or introduce new people to the hobby, should we be doing it with minis and terrain and
Have to.
and all the stuff, or should we be doing it with paper and markers and maps? I
think-
personally, I think it's a double-edged sword.
yeah,
I think
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but even as a terrain seller, I think starting them off with theater of the mind, paper, let them write out their character sheet like we used to back in
Yeah.
the day. Because there's something to be said for it. If you fill out a form, especially if it's like a digital one and they're just filling in the blanks, they're maybe not learning what everything is, but if they got to write it on their sheet, then they're like, what am I putting down here? Oh yeah, this is hit points. This is armor class. How did I get my armor class?
Yeah.
Oh, it comes from here. There's something to be said for that.
Yeah.
I think it probably depends on the person. Like, I think some people will do better. So, like, if you've played board games with someone and they like the tangible piece of it, or they like having some structure, like maybe that would appeal to them. I think for a lot of younger people, that rules overhead, once you put it on a grid, and now it's like, oh no, you can't move there. You only have 30, and it's like, so that kind of stuff. I think that is restrictive for somebody's first experience. Like for me, I like the idea of like, I'm going to show the one bookend of this, like the theater of the mind, as creative as possible, as few constraints within the rules. There are still rules, and that's important to establish. But like, that's the angle I like to shoot. And then like, you can see sometimes people struggle with that. Like if someone is very spatially minded, where it's like, well, I don't understand where I'm located, or am I behind? Like if they're asking for that kind of stuff, then it's like, okay, cool. There's tools that we can use that help with that.
Yeah. I just like my thing on using like the terrain and the minis and everything else is I don't want to portray a game to people that says, hey, you can't afford to play this, or you can't afford to run this because like it's like the Warhammer thing, right? Like I know that I don't have, maybe if I stopped back in all these Kickstarters, maybe I'd have more time and money to play Warhammer or whatever. But like, I just don't have the time and the money and everything to put into it. And I don't want people to think the same thing about, D&D or RPGs, right? I mean, when I say D&D, I mean all of it, but
that stuff can definitely be seen as a barrier to entry.
Yeah. And like,
Not
I mean,
seen
like,
right.
like Dan says, Swords and Wizardry Continual Light, it's $7 on Amazon, right? Basic Fantasy, same. It's like, $10 on Amazon now. Like, I mean, all that stuff is so, the barrier to entry is so low, so yeah.
I think Basic Fantasy would be a great way to teach people because it's such a low barrier of entry. I mean, and the fact that all of it, every single piece of it, is available for free in PDF. And if
That's
you want
correct,
the prints, you just get on Amazon and spend between $6 and $10 now, and that's up.
$10 now. $10 now for
for years. You used to get on there and they'd have books for like $3.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, it's crazy, and it's a complete game, and I think it works.
Yeah.
What do you think, Chloe, about like minis and terrain and all of that? You've seen some terrain setups and all of that. Do you think that's important for new people coming into the game?
I don't think it's that important. I think it's helpful, but it's not something that you like need.
Yeah. And like, that's what I'm trying to and like these kids that I'm doing the class for, right? Like I know one of them just spent like $200 well, his parents probably did, like $200 on the 2024 core books.
Oh, well, they're not 2024 anymore.
Or whatever it is.
They officially changed the name to 5.5 edition.
Did they?
Yep, it's official.
They're doing it on D&D Beyond.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
they've said that that's the new naming scheme for it because that's what the fans called
That's
it.
what the
So-
fans called it. Yeah,
so they're
that's
going to
what
just
the name-
try and stay
I'm,
consistent.
regardless, right? My point is that this kid, right, has got like $200 into these books, and now is like invested in like reading them and like teaching everybody else, and it's like, I mean, it's a pretty high barrier of entry. I think even $200. You know what I mean? To
Yeah.
you know,
So
to
even
somebody.
just a few years ago, I would have said 5e is probably the way to go if you're teaching, like you're doing a high school club or something, because it's so accessible and that's what everybody plays.
Right.
But I don't know. After getting into Shadow Dark or even OSC, I think
Yeah.
it's an easier game to learn. It's way more creative because they don't have to look at their character sheet to see what they can do. It's all about them basically coming up with ideas of what they want to do, and the DM decides if it works or not. I think that's a better route to go. I would definitely
Yeah,
recommend. I would definitely recommend OSC or Shadow Dark.
I had a mom ask me just before Christmas last year. She wanted to get her son was interested in playing games, and she asked, and I thought for a second. Then I recommended the Dragonbane box set because it's not a big barrier to entry. It's a fairly simple game, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So
And that box set is the complete game. You don't need anything
Yeah.
else.
Right.
the best value
Yeah.
in RPGs if you're going to buy
Absolutely is.
something like that, hands down.
And I was on the fence about Dragonbane, because of the roll under system and that, and we've had that discussion, and then we were in a couple of games of Matt's, and he's just, I don't want to blow smoke up his bum here, but man,
Had a great time as always, man.
yeah, no, we had so much fun doing the Dragonbane games there, and and Matt is great about like using spells for you like I had what Pillar, is that the name of the spell?
Yeah.
Pillar.
Oh yeah,
Man, I use
purpose.
that thing for everything.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna use this. Look, there's a hole in the ground. I can like a pit. I can put it in there so we can just walk over it, and just all sorts of stuff. And so, I mean, that's important too. I think is to placate, especially kids, right? Like to their ego or whatever they want to do, instead of, hey, this is a hard rule. You can only do this. Like
Yeah. I mean, like Stephen Kennedy just said there, you're not wrong. Shadow Dark, $60. If you're looking at the price is the barrier for entry. If you want to get kids into it, and you want it cheap, then yeah, don't go Shadow Dark.
yeah,
You're gonna have to stay away from the big ones and go with some of the more indie titles and stuff where you can get free PDFs and or just cheap print copies.
Yeah, I think wasn't I think it might have been you last episode that we were talking about the quick start guide, like what's available for free, and like how you can. Yeah, I mean you can play levels 1 through 3 completely for free. Like they have a pretty good quick start guide for Shadow Dark. So
right, and the fact is, and they actually have a players and a GM's quick start, and the GM's one has that adventure that we're running.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question because I think I'm going to be in the minority here. Roger, what are your thoughts? I know you guys haven't finished Citadel yet, but what are your thoughts on it as a whole so far?
I think they finished it. I think the only thing left really for them to do is that pillar room.
Yep.
And I don't think anyone wants anything to do with that.
So we actually that was a big long discussion at my table because one of my players argued that he didn't like the pillar room and thought it was horrible design, and he felt there should just be some way in the dungeon to bypass those pillars. And I'm like, it comes down to you to figure it out. I go, you guys did get past it. And he goes, well, that was just luck because he had this. I'm like, okay, you figured out how to get past it.
You did it. What's wrong?
Yeah, I mean,
but that's like the linear thinking thing,
right? I told him, I go,
like,
not everything in the dungeon you have to find or conquer. I mean,
and I think that's part of the 5e mindset or whatever, right? Like, okay, we're gonna go into this dungeon that the GM put in front of us. We're gonna go through this room by room and clear it and do it. And I think Shadow Dark is really pushes against that because you're not getting XP for monsters. You're getting XP for gold. So like, hey guys, there's like a bunch of monsters over there. Maybe we shouldn't go down this thing, and you don't end up clearing the whole thing. Or maybe you come back later, say, hey, wow, we took out one of those things and there's 6 more. Maybe we should, go out in the wilderness, go down another dungeon or another barrow or something, and then say, hey, let's come back. Oh, now we're level 4. Let's go back now and see
Right.
what.
Right, and that's what
You
I told him. I go, maybe
Yeah.
maybe it's something you can't conquer right now, but maybe later you do. Maybe you leave here and you find some item, and you guys are like, "Oh man, that would help us get past those pillars. Let's go back and see what it was."
Yeah,
I'm
Dan,
like,
this was an issue that Mike and I talked about.
it really maybe there should have been a light at the end or something so you could see it, or maybe the sword, I don't know. It just
Maybe the sword should have a slight glow or something. Yeah.
yeah. But then you run the risk, no swords glow in Shadow Dark because light's an issue, and you.
Well, right.
But yeah, there could have been something there that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I the reason I ask is because I have come to the conclusion that at least my current players at the table, they are not dungeon crawlers. They prefer overland, wilderness stuff. They love urban city stuff, and they like small. In which, me personally, as a DM, I prefer small dungeons that range from anywhere from 4 to 10 rooms, something that you can start and finish in a session. Giant dungeons that take 4, 5, 6 sessions or longer, I don't know, man. They don't interest me as much. I think it's part of because a lot of players aren't good at that. My guys
Yeah.
just don't know how to do. They didn't play back in the day, and they haven't seemed to figure out how to do it safely. They get into combat when they shouldn't. They get into situations, and they get miserable if they can't figure something out.
I think like I think you're right for the most part. Right. I'll agree with that. Smaller dungeons I think are better. I do like some of the larger dungeons. Like I tried to run World's Largest Dungeon in 3.5. I'd love to run that again in like Shadow Dark or something and just see what happens. But I think like the mega dungeons need to be run like properly. And I think the first Diablo game I think is a great example of how a mega dungeon should run. Right? Because you start going down the levels, and then every couple levels that you get down, you end up busting out a door that leads to the surface, and you go right back to town.
Yep.
So you kind of can go down a couple levels at a time and go through it, and then go back to town. And so it's almost like those levels are separate dungeons.
Yeah,
I've
run Undermountain to great effect, but
Yeah.
that was the same thing. It was like lots of entrances and exits, and they
Yeah.
never went in there just for the sake of delving. They went in because they get, somebody would be like, hey, we've gotten reports that, our family sword that's been missing for the last 50 years has been spotted in here. Here's a little sketched out map. We know there's an entrance under this building. The sewers break into it, and off they go. And they've got it's an adventure just to go and recover it and get out, rather than, we're going to crawl through 400 rooms worth of
right.
maps.
Yeah, Abomination Vaults, same thing. Yeah, and I think that's important, right? Because otherwise, like you get into something like the World's Largest Dungeon, and it's like if you use the whole thing, you go in and you're in this thing. Like there's no like if you want to back all the way out, I mean it'd take you. You get 3 days in, and it's going to take you 3 days to get out, and and all that stuff.
I think Shadow Dark is still a little bit in its infancy. I think a lot of the writers for it are stuck in that mindset that they got to create mega dungeons, and that's all the game is. It's just dungeon delving. I think I'm hoping as writers started getting a little more familiar with it and start writing more campaigns that aren't necessarily like that. I mean, if you look at all the classic D&D stuff. Yeah, BX had lots of dungeons and stuff, but a lot of them had stories to it and whatnot.
Sure.
And you didn't spend all your time in the dungeon.
Yeah.
Your favorite, Keep on the Borderlands.
Yeah.
Lots of dungeon stuff, but it was small delves. You didn't go and try and clear it at once. It was,
No, you went little by little. You go back to the keep and you hang out and rest up.
Yeah, I think that honestly, these concepts are going to be fairly easily understood by the the generation of kids coming up that are going to play these games, because I think most video games in the RPG space have adopted this stuff because the people that made them played RPGs like this growing up. Like if you think about the general Bethesda style, where it's like,
Yeah.
here you are in this world, like you just walk around and find points of interest and you decide what you're going to do. And there's small dungeons, there's big dungeons, there's small town. There's like a guy living in a shack. There's a town over here. To some degree, this Shadow Dark campaign that Glass Cannon is running sort of feels like that. Hey, you start with this cataclysm. Here's the town. You're exploring. You're finding different points of interest. Like they're literally treating it like a video game with like a Joe's, like, I have a quest log. He's literally naming the quest like they'd be named in like Fallout or Elder Scrolls.
Nice.
The group that I'm running Dragonbane for off and on, like I'm treating it that way, like a video game. We just play for a couple hours on Wednesdays sometimes. Yeah. And it's literally like they're in the town, they're in the tavern. Like there's a poster that says this, the barkeep tells them this is available. They walk out, somebody runs up and says, I'm looking for this thing. So now you have like options. What do you want to do? And it's just little one shots or little parts from different things that take a couple hours. And I think that play style is like really well aligned with even what you were saying about an area that's too difficult. All the Dark Souls games work that way, right?
Yeah.
Like you can explain, it's pretty obvious when you walk in the wrong area and get absolutely destroyed and you go, okay, well, I have to come back here when I'm leveled up later. So that stuff, I think, just because of video games and how they operate, I think people are going to have no problem understanding that.
I think some of the problem my group has is like the one guy arguing it. He is he really loves 5th edition, and 5th edition didn't really have big dungeons like that. Their books were more small point dungeons. You go here, do this, go here, do that, but it was very linear, and most of the stuff really wasn't that well designed. I mean, there's much better stuff out there. I'm hoping they'll come around on it. But I don't mind running huge dungeons. Like I just showed, if you saw the stuff I was holding up, I've been printing out all the Hexcrawl stuff I could find. I've pulled out all my D30 books with all the tables and stuff for generating hexes. The populated hex stuff, I've been printing them out and binding them myself. And we sat and talked about it. And they were really on board with running a Hexcrawl because right now, if 2E to 5E taught you anything, and this is one of the flaws I always had with 2E, is they really don't have a ton of rules for how overland travel works. They'll give you distance, they'll tell you how long you can travel in a day and a few stuff but they don't really have any mechanics like the old school where you'd hex crawl, use the mechanics to do it and roll your random encounters. And it can feel a little mechanical at times, but the way I'm planning to do the hex crawl is I'm going to pre-roll my hexes. They won't see them. They won't be labeled on their map, but they'll be pre-rolled. So when they go into it, I'm not rolling it in the moment,
Yeah, right.
And I don't like randomly rolling treasure because if the treasure says there's a +2 sword there, well, why the hell weren't they using it to attack you? I don't like the fact that you kill some monster and then you roll the treasure and you're like, oh, they had this, and so
roll the magic items before and then
right. Well, what I'm doing is I'm going through with like the random encounter tables and I'm taking this thing of index cards. Thing of index cards. I'm going to re-roll the random encounters on the table and literally number them and put them all in there. So off that random encounter table, they're all here already rolled up, and maybe I'll make 2 or 3 of each.
Yeah.
Do the encounter, pre-roll the treasure for it, and then if it comes up on the table, I pull it out and we're ready to go. So they're not all the same, but they're also ready to go. We're not waiting for me to roll stuff at the table. I'll roll the encounter real quick. It says, oh, it's goblins. Number 4 is goblins. I pull up number 4 card out of there and we're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
It's a little more prep, obviously. Some people don't like all that, but I feel if you take the time at the beginning of the campaign to prep that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. With a hex crawl, there's a lot of front loaded work.
Yep.
But then at the table, there's not
Right.
So long as you're proficient enough of a DM, like you can run things pretty smooth if you've got that stuff kind of worked out or can come up with stuff on the fly.
Right.
So, yeah, and I'm hoping to do hex crawl stuff in Shadow Dark. I'm hoping that the Western Reaches stuff, helps with that or have some stuff there. And we'll go from there. I put the link up for that stuff. Third Kingdom Games. That's the the guy that does the populated hexes monthly and all of that. So Into the Wilds and all that stuff. So
it's funny.
It's cool stuff.
I cannot click your links, but I can right click and open them in another tab.
That's what I had to do.
Yeah, the clicking doesn't work.
Really interesting. Yeah, Todd Lee back. Yeah,
this stuff. I'm going to buy the Into the Wild Omnibus Edition, the print.
Yeah.
I actually own the PDF of it, and I own the PDFs of the 3 books that make it up. But I'm thinking about buying that one, the retail version, because it comes. I believe it comes with a better binding, and it comes with the ribbons in it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Right.
The stuff's not cheap, though. I'll tell you that. He's got a lot of books, and they're not cheap.
Well, I think they're all right. I mean, if you look at the monthly things, I mean, they're pretty cheap. But the problem, like, he's been going for so many months now.
Right. Well, so I have year 1. I bought year 1. So if you do like me, and they're black and white. There is some color in them for the hex stuff, but I don't plan on using his hex world, so I'm not really that concerned with that.
Yeah.
So if I print these in black and white and then I just bind them myself,
sure.
You spend $19 to get a whole year's worth of them. So there's 12 issues, so that's a lot better. If you buy all the print ones, you're going to spend $1,000 on all his books.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, even the omnibuses, I mean, it's what, like $70?
$70. Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Which is,
it's a little pricey, but
it is, but I don't know how it's gotta be a few hundred pages anyway.
Oh yeah, it's like 320 pages or something.
Yeah.
But these ones, even like this one was just this is just a single hex, and it's like, I don't know, it's not that big. It's 19 pages what I printed here, but it's 19 pages detailing all the stuff within that hex.
Yeah,
actually, it's more than that hex. It's a bunch of different hexes in there. So the way they do it is they divide 1 6-mile hex into the sub hex, where each little hex inside there is 1 mile.
1 mile,
And
1 mile hex.
So there's quite a bit there. I had to wrap my head around that when I first thought about hex crawls. I'm like, well, it's 6 miles and you've only got one thing in there. But if you read that, they figure there's anywhere from like 4 to 6 points of interest per 6-mile hex. And that doesn't mean it's 4 to 6 dungeons or whatever else, but it could be there's an orc encampment and there's an ogre cave, and then there's a stream with a bridge on it, which could be anything. Maybe there's an old ruin. There could be a lot of little things in there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be everything dangerous either.
Paul just got home. He's filming. Have they mentioned any non-D&D games? It's a good starting point. Paul, I don't know if you heard before. We mentioned that you were looking for a list of BX games that were coming out, but no, we talked about we talked Easy D6. We mentioned Basic Fantasy. I know that's D&D, I guess, right? Dragonbane. Dragonbane is not D&D. Dungeon Crawl Classics. Whether that's D&D or not, I don't know. That's personal. That's personal preference.
Yeah.
Vaults of Varn, I think is a really great. I like the character creation there. Everything's just random. You just roll through the charts. I think that's fun.
Vaults of Varn is the kind of game I would have liked when I was young. I think I said before how the Palladium TMNT game was like one of my favorite RPGs as a kid, and I barely ever played it. Even the Marvel, the TSR Marvel game, to some degree, we did actually play that probably more than D&D, just because it was more accessible to my friends. But just rolling up characters And
Yeah.
I think I got a little bit of Jason in me that way. I don't get to play that much as a player, but like just like getting these ideas. Like I'm thinking about like, oh, what's this superhero's background? What can he do? I want him to do this. And Vaults of Orange for me kind of has that, just like rolling through the tables and sort of like, all right, what's this mushroom person's deal? Like, why do they look like this? And how do these powers work? And like, that kind of stuff is kind of fun. So I know, like, I don't know if this is still the case, but for me, being when I was young, I probably read RPGs more than I played them, but like exponentially more so. Some of those books, like I just read them front to back over and over and over again. And, so I think about that too. Like if you're a kid and you're not Roger and buying 17 Kickstarters a day, like you're going to have limited access to like whatever books you buy you're going to really invest time in. Right. Because we think about like, now we have money and maybe not a lot of time. It's the opposite when you're a kid. You have lots of time. You don't have a lot of money. So the books that you get, you want to have something that you can kind of read over and over again and engage with, whether you have friends to play with or not. Vaults of Arn is cool for that. And I do like you mentioned Dragonbane. I mean, I agree with you pretty wholeheartedly. Like it's hard to recommend stuff that's not D&D because it's like Xerox or whatever. It's just a brand that like so that feels like the right starting point. But Dragonbane is so easy to learn. Like the rules are so like straightforward and understandable when you look at the character sheet and you play it for the first time. I feel like it's a game you just pick up and can have fun with so fast. And as a product, that box set is so good. It's so easy to recommend. Like, hey, $50, you buy this. Like, you could play this for a year and not exhaust all the stuff that's in here.
Yeah,
which is hard to say about a lot of
It's
products.
got the module. It's got the full rule book. It's got the standees. It's fantastic.
I'll be honest though. I don't think. I know Dragonbane's a little different because it's not a starter set; it's a core set, so it's got the core rules in it. But if you look at pretty much all of the Free League stuff, they're pretty much in the same boat. You buy any one of their box sets, and you're getting a hell of a value.
Got the game.
No, you're right, but like I don't know that the Year Zero engine is that the introduction you want to have.
Yeah,
like if you're first starting out playing role-playing games, like I don't know that like a dice pool system or also like frankly some of their, because I love Free League to death, but like if we're talking about a young person, like is Blade Runner going to resonate with them? Is like Alien what you want to play? I mean, maybe.
I think that's a totally valid point, but that also goes to know your audience. Mm-hmm. If you're 11-year-old, if Chloe has no idea what Blade Runner is, she is not going to be anywhere near as passionate about it as I am. But Chloe and I played Mouse Ritter. Joe in the chat did a great job of running Mouse Ritter for us, and I was in it to the level that I'm here to play a game and I'm going to have a good time. Chloe was a mouse running around looking for a wizard's hat. She was 100% invested in it.
I got that wizard's hat.
And as soon as she got the hat, she was like, I'm cool. The rest of the game, she was like, I don't care what we do now. I got my hat. And so that's, I've just been kind of waiting for my turn. We talk about fantasy stuff being the introduction to RPGs. Earlier on, Mike posted the humble bundle for 4th edition Shadowrun, and he asked, "Does anybody play it?" Shadowrun was going to be one of my introduction games that I would point to people. It's great sci-fi. I also played 2nd edition all the time, Mike. That's what I played. But 4th edition is like a new and improved version of 2nd edition. It's a great edition.
Well, so I've thought
if you're
about
interested in Shadowrun. That humble bundle is definitely
for,
the way to go.
For $90 for all those, or for $25 for all 90 of those books.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's worth it because I'll just use the materials with this.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I haven't even gone through the
challenge. Shadowrun's on its 6th edition. It's never been perfect. In fact, it's been deeply flawed for a very long time. but there's so much lore in there that you can just port over to Shadowpunk or Cyberpunk 2077 or 2010, whatever you want to do. But and that's just Star Wars. It has faded a lot. End of statement. But 10 years ago, Star Wars was at its peak, and if you had somebody that wanted to play Star Wars, here's D6 Star Wars. This game is stupid easy to get into. A handful of D6s, and you're ready to play.
There's somebody
yeah.
on RPG Market right now. I think it's RPG Market, maybe it's RPG Auctions, that has a ton of D20 Star Wars stuff, all in mint condition, right? And I was looking at it, and they were like asking some ridiculous amount, and I thought it was all of it. And then I realized they were showing
One
a picture of all the books.
I
It's
saw
per,
that too.
per book, and he's got them all up there for
Oh
like
my
$80 to
God.
$100 each.
No,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
not good. But,
and
but
he had no bids on it. Nobody was biting
They're-
on that.
But anyway, but my whole point to that long-winded thing was that we focus on D&D and fantasy because that's what we play most of the time. But every single person on this panel can look around the room and man, I've got dozens of different settings and stories. I mean, you want to do cowboys? I've got cowboys. You want to do sci-fi? I got that. You want to do Blade Runner? I've got that. You want to do realistic military? I've got that too. You want to do dark fantasy? We can do that. You want high fantasy? We can. There's so much out there you can do that it doesn't just have to be Dungeons and Dragons. Whether it's first to fifth, it makes no difference. It doesn't have to be any kind of BX clone. There's so much stuff out there that we can do that isn't even fantasy. And I'm done.
Yeah, no,
Well,
I think you're spot on with that. I have one of my close friends is like a huge Fallout fan, right? So like if I were going to try to get him into playing something, like that would probably be the game I would run for him, just because you're right. Like knowing your audience, and if there is a license that aligns with something that your friends like, that is a very easy way to kind of get past some of the things that would hold somebody up. But they don't have to know, they don't have to learn any new lore. They sort of already are into that thing. I agree with you 100% there.
That was
for sure.
At Rogers Con last year. One of the guys that works with Roger, one of the guys on my team, his son loves Fallout. In fact, Ducato, I think you played with him. It was the Mr.
did.
Handy with the Ripsaw.
Yeah.
Ripsaw,
Yep.
I think is what you guys end up calling him.
Buzzsaw.
Buzzsaw.
His first ever RPG, and he was over the moon getting to play a Mr. Handy in a Fallout RPG. And the kid still talks about it. His dad talks to me on a regular basis and tells me what a great time. And like the kid's trying to run games now. Score. That kid is like the perfect example of how to introduce a player into RPGs. Worked out perfectly.
That brings up a good point too, Jason. Like, because I was in that game with him, and it was. I mean, I've played with kids that age a bunch, so it wasn't a big deal. But like one of the things you can also do, or you should do, is be obviously super encouraging, right? So he was a little timid at first, which is understandable. The only person he knew was his dad.
Yeah.
But like as soon as he came out and Buzzsaw the first, whatever the heck it was, I don't remember what we killed the first part of it. I mean, the rest of the table like was 100% in, and we were just like cheering him on. And then it was like he got the green light and he just went with it.
Yeah.
And I was sitting next to, because it was DM Bloodworth that ran that game, and I was sitting next to Rich, and he started laughing at one point. He's like, I really didn't think that this game was going to be that violent. and the most violent person there wasn't me running a super mutant. It was him playing his Mr. Handy, just buzzsawing every bad guy we came across. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's a good time at cons. I think conventions are a good way to introduce people to the hobby, as well. The smaller ones, right? Like don't take somebody that wants to play or is interested in playing. Like don't take them to Gen Con as their as their first convention, but something like CNY or MEPA or something that's small enough. It's not hugely crowded. There's not a lot of the and find somebody and again I'll pat Matt on the back here, but find a DM that's like Matt that is accommodating for people of all ages, is used to running for things, can run and runs like fun, exciting games, right? Like I can think, I don't want to point fingers and name names. Nobody here, obviously, or nobody that's even in the chat, but like I've been in some games with some DMs, and Jason knows these stories too, where it's like, oh my God, what is this guy doing? Like it's just, and it just makes the game slog on and on, and and I like trying to like I could picture bringing somebody new to that and then being like, no, I'm out.
Yeah.
Never coming back to the game.
I was in a 5th edition game at PAX East. It was the year of COVID. What was that? 22, 20, whatever it was.
2020. Yeah.
I was in a 5e game with some buddies of mine, and the DM kept stopping because he was texting his mom in the middle of the game. and the three of us were like, what the hell is going on with this guy, man? Like, completely destroyed the game because he kept texting his mom. Good Lord. It's bad enough when the player does that sort of nonsense. The DM was doing it. It would just kill everything.
I think
it's nuts.
I think having an exciting DM is really important, because the last D&D game that I was in, it was like their first time running, and they were really like sticking to the book, and I was like, you just gave me a choice. Either go on the hot air balloon or jump off the cliff. I want to jump off the cliff. And she was like, no, you have to go on the hot air balloon. And she like did not know anything, and she had to kept checking the book. And I was like, but I wanted to jump off the cliff.
Yeah.
My other player just tried to throw me off the cliff. Why can't I just jump?
Yeah. Railroading. That's like a big problem. You got to be able to roll with, doing things. We sometimes, we sit, this is more of a mean comment that I've heard people would say GMs, but people call that the loading screen. Like when you get the loading screen on the DM, that's like,
hang on a minute, I got to read the next few pages here.
You see the like I instantly hear the dial-up sound in my head. I see the AOL logo.
Yeah, I mean, so that gets into the idea of not just what game are you picking, but what adventure or scenario or module. One of my big issues with 5e stuff was this whole idea of like, it's this huge continent spanning adventure, but you can't actually do anything. Like you're right, Edgelord. It's like Dragonlance was. Like it's a movie, and you're just on the ride watching it. Like you don't really have a lot of agency. And if you're gonna run something, especially new players, it's like one of the coolest things about running games for people that have never played before is as they start to realize they can really do anything, like they come up with crazy creative stuff that, when you've played a lot of RPGs, you sort of know, like most adventures, like you've into it pretty fast what the deal is, and it doesn't make it less fun, but you sort of know what's happening. And for somebody that's never played before, that's not their experience. Like they have this kind of eye-opening, like, wow, I can really do whatever I want. And so if you're going to play like a wide open thing, you need to be ready for people to make crazy choices. You can narrow that by putting them in an environment that has less wide open options, where like the amount of nuttiness that they come up with is still controlled based on the environment that they're in, versus like, you're, in this wide open environment.
Yeah, I think it's instead of players going through like a 5th edition adventure where everything, you're superheroes, but you're also on rails because you're pretty much following along their book. You gotta, play by their rules, or it falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
I think rather than going through that year-long adventure where they, finally defeat the big bad and save the world, and of course they're all excited they did it. I think those same players given a game where it's more emergent play, like say a hex crawl, where they're in control of where they go and what they do. And so when they find that there's some witch that's been bothering this town, or the giants that have been stealing the cattle or whatever, and they go and defeat that, and it's probably a much more dangerous fight. By the time they finish all that, I think they probably get as much or more satisfaction because they feel like they earned it, rather than they were
Yeah.
just following along the story.
Yeah.
But they have to try it and see. You know,
yeah.
just telling them, you know, it's easy to look at a 5th edition book and be like, oh, we're gonna be the heroes and save the world. Yeah, it sounds fun on the little blurb on the back, you know, until you get in and play it.
The 5e game that I was in several years back was like looking at it when we finished. That game would have played out exactly the same without the players being involved at all.
Yeah.
Like we were just there for the story. Like that story was, you know, and part of that's on the GM, you know, but he had a story that he was telling the story, and there was no like, this is the thing. And, you know, he didn't have like hard walls, you know, that we couldn't, you know, walk through, but at times it felt that way. You know, it was like, oh, we want to go over here. And it's like that passageway just curves right back to where he wants us to go. You know, like, oh, you get to a fork in the road. There's 3 ways you can go. And it's like, it didn't matter because every one of those led to the same place.
Little message pops up. You can't go this way. Turn around.
Yeah.
This
we're going to turn around.
This might be an unpopular opinion, but I feel that's where Dragonlance. I know Dragonlance is hugely popular. I love Dragonlance. I got started reading those books, and you know, back in the day, our first campaigns in 1st edition were homebrew Dragonlance. Well, I'll tell you where I feel published Dragonlance missed the mark. They focused too much on the original books, and every story they ever did was, well, you're going to play the heroes and you're going to follow the story.
Yeah.
And there was very little, like, you know, I think they could have been better served if maybe the War of the Lance ended and it was more about, you know, just the after, you know, create a box set after.
Yep. Pick up the pieces.
You know, and let the people make their sandbox and go with that. But everything they've ever published was, and they're still doing it, you know, even when they put out 5th edition, it's like, oh, we're going to put you in a different spot, but we're still going to have the heroes in there. You know, you're not them.
Yeah, some of the Dark Sun stuff had that same problem. It was like, you're running parallel along with the books, except you're like the kind of, you know, here's the sword, great hero. You know what I mean? Like you're just like the sidekicks to you know, that's not a great experience.
Dan mentioned Barrows and Borderlands for Fallout style game. Spoilers, but Matt's going to come on next week and talk about Barrows and Borderlands. So, yeah, that'll be exciting. But whenever I say Matt is coming on the show, Chloe is always asking me, which Matt? You know too many Matts.
Hey, sorry, quick question because you referenced it earlier. So Streets of Magic, I was reading that over. It sounds pretty it sounds a lot like you know, cyberpunk fantasy mashup. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yeah. So like if you were going to get that, if you were going to get that bundle of 4th edition stuff, there might be stuff you could mine for that from Shadowrun if that's the kind of thing you're looking for.
Yes.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's cool. I'm gonna have to look at that Shadowrun.
Is that a Kickstarter right now? Streets of Magic?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's
when he was on as a guest a few weeks ago, he talked about that, and because that's what I asked. I was like, "Oh, this sounds like Shadowrun." That's exactly what it is.
OSR Shadowrun, basically, right?
It's his homebrew Shadowrun. You know, I'd be lying if I said I was going to play it as soon as it arrived. I like the guy, and I love Blacklight, as you all know. So as soon as he announced it, I was like, "I'll back it." And so as soon as it went live, I backed it. That Humble Bundle, I've got it up on my desktop right now. As soon as the show's over, I'm going to get it. I'm going to give him $30 and get $1,000 in books.
Put the link in
those PDFs. Go ahead.
Put the link in the chat so I'll put it on the stream
for the Humble Bundle.
Yeah.
Okay. I just lost my train of thought. Oh,
sorry,
I have.
Man.
You know, no, you're fine. Those, you know, that 4th edition Shadowrun. I used to sail the seas, if you know what I'm talking about. So I have most of those PDFs, but I guarantee you this Humble Bundle is going to have much higher quality PDFs.
It's there. Mike put it in the chat. I could just
he put it up a while ago. So $30, man, you can't go wrong for that. So and it's my preferred version of Shadowrun if you're going to play. So there you go. I've done my plug for the night.
Yeah. No, fantastic. Yeah, no, I think definitely game choices, is definitely important for bringing new people. And yeah, I think we kind of covered it, right, but like finding an IP or something that person kind of, if it's one person, right, if it's a group, it's hit or miss, right, but like I wouldn't introduce Chloe to RPGs with Blade Runner or Alien or whatever, like, because she doesn't have that connection,
Mhm.
like, you guys didn't see Jason the first time he saw the Blade Runner game at the table, but oh my God, he was like, he was like a 6-year-old the first time
I
he went
was a
into a
kid in a
candy
candy
shop.
store. I
Yeah.
certainly was. There was a holy light shining down behind me on the game. Boy, yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, beside the fact, right? And I think it was maybe Paul that mentioned, or it's been mentioned a couple times. The Year Zero engine is probably a bad introductory system, to learn. It just seems you continuously like roll and have more dice and get worse at at things. But yeah, I mean, I think finding a decent IP, and I don't even know like what's the popular IPs now, like Alien
Stranger
and
Things.
Blade Runner are like so old right now, right? Like, what would you say, Stam?
Stranger Things.
Stranger
Stuff like
Things,
that.
right? But yeah, okay, so there's
I feel like
There's,
that's kind of on the decline now. Now that the
Yeah.
series has ended,
yeah,
the last
well, like
season
any
was
show.
yeah. I think that's kind of on the decline.
I think Dungeons
But
and
I-
Dragons is still strong. I mean, you have
Yeah.
shows like Game of Thrones. That's D&D 100%.
yeah, that's true.
So and
That's
then
true.
on the Breitbart. Anyway, they're doing the Merlin and the Pendragon series.
Oh
I
yeah,
can't remember the name of that channel, but fantasy is still alive and strong in television and movies. So pick a fantasy RPG and,
Yeah.
and you'll be set. Really,
Chloe? What are the kids watching these days? What TV? I know you're watching something that police show for some reason. But,
I watched The Rookie.
the Rookie. Yeah, that's because it's Nathan Fillion. And
Well,
Nathan
this
Fillion,
is,
they're
they're doing
why
a
wouldn't
drop.
you
They're
watch
doing a
it?
dropout
Right.
collaboration too, aren't they?
I saw that. I want to watch it. It really depends on who you ask. One of my friends watches Has Been Hotel, a horrifying amount.
I don't know what any of this stuff is.
I have
Good.
no clue what she's talking about.
You know what I think might really be one of the upcoming things that's going to attract new people into it is the Kickstarter that's about to launch for the Dungeon Crawler Carl RPG. Now,
Oh,
I've never read the books, but I know a whole
Yeah,
bunch of
for
people
sure.
that have. They've got their wives into it. They're just like they're absolutely amazing. And of course, now they're coming out with an RPG, so I think it's going to be pretty big because those books are very popular.
Yeah, I think you're right. I read the first one because they talked about it in Glass Cannon Radio. It was like their book club book. The one month.
Did you like it?
No, I did not.
So my next
at
door
all,
neighbor is big into it. He actually sent me the link on Audible for it, so I've got the first one that I was going to listen to.
I have heard that if you're going, that the Audible versions are fantastic.
I heard because he does like amazing voices for it all, and
cool.
Yeah, I heard that's the way to go. And I also heard that like the first book in a series is maybe not always the best one. I heard it picks up. I don't know. It's just not my. But it wasn't bad. But yeah, I agree though. I think you're right. I think that's like a very weird. It's like a weird reversal that like it's like a lit RPG that like is popular. It's going to bring people into the hobby.
I think it'll be another gateway type of game.
Yeah.
It might not be the longevity. They might get into it, try it, and then try other games and be like, "Oh, this is better," but it'll bring people in. Fight me if you want here. I know I hate even to say this, but I still think that this is probably one of the best products they've put out to teach new people the game. If they had stuck with the concepts of this box set instead of going Monty Hall with 5th edition, it could have been a great game because I found that adventure a lot of fun. I thought the classes that were in there were great without all the subclass stuff. You know,
Yeah.
The thieves and fighters weren't running around hurling spells and
Yeah.
it just
No, I print out the 5th edition print and bound, the 5th edition basic rules.
Yep.
And
Yeah, they're good.
I think it's a fantastic game.
Yeah. I don't think
I
that's
mean-
a hot take at all. To be honest, I think that's
It probably
yeah.
has the best adventure they wrote for 5th edition in it.
yeah.
Yeah. And so
Well,
the starter
yeah,
sets and stuff,
that's true.
sure. Yeah.
I only look at it as a hot take because a lot of people really want to hate on 5th edition. Hey,
Sure.
Listen, if you like it, it's as a player, I'm sure it's a lot of fun. As me as a DM, oh my god, it's such a slog to run sometimes compared to
right.
other games.
Yeah. There's
just
there's a whole bunch of work on the GM.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would a cops and robbers game be fun, Chloe?
Honestly, I don't think so in a role playing standpoint.
Maybe we should try that in the class where we got 10,
No.
10 kids. We'll make 5
my
of them
God.
robbers and 5 of them cops. They'll just be there'll be a pile
That's
of
a
dead
horrible
bodies in
plan.
15 minutes.
Are you gonna bring your whole group to Central New York?
Me?
They better
sure.
come, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna try.
you're gonna be running
I-
games, right?
Absolutely not.
No way.
No, you don't want to try running a game?
Roger,
No.
you should just reach out to Chuck and tell him that we need somebody to run kids games there.
I know, to get him to come up. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that'd be great if I can get him up. But it's a week before Origins. They say they're considering not doing Origins this year. So
They don't know what they're doing every year. They change their minds
Yeah.
every.
yeah. So Steven said maybe they'd come up, but for CNY, but I don't know. We'll see. They haven't seen, but I'd love to have him up here. I think it'd be great, But Chuck isn't that far. He's not in Pennsylvania, or he's Maryland or something. He's
Oh,
right
I
around
don't know.
there somewhere, right?
I thought he was down there with them in Alabama or wherever the hell they are.
I don't think he's that far. I don't think
Arkansas.
he's that far south.
Yeah, it's Arkansas. Starts with an A.
Joe. I'm not reading that.
Yeah, the other the other game I have had really good success with, and we've talked about it before, but with people that have never played an RPG at all is Dread.
Yeah,
And
that's a weird one, right?
Well, so there's 3 like starter adventures in the book. The first one is basically like aliens kind of story.
Yeah.
And that one, I think because most people are familiar with the tropes of that, and because Dread gets rid of so much of the mechanical overhead of a traditional RPG, but it still retains a lot of the basic concepts of what it feels like to play an RPG. I've run it twice for groups where the entire group had never played an RPG before. So like friend and girlfriend, friend and wife kind of thing usually. And both times it went over extremely well. And both times I got messages afterwards, like basically saying, I didn't know that's what an RPG was. And like, if this is what it is, I'd like to play more. So that one to me is like a really, really good introductory game for people that have never played any RPGs at all.
Well, Dread is like you can get people to play it without even knowing they're playing an RPG. Like,
Yes,
it's not even in that.
Mhm.
I mean, it is right. It's an RPG. There's mechanics for it, but because there's no dice, like it's like, oh hey, you want to do something? You pull a Jenga piece or pull 2 Jenga pieces or whatever, and so that's interesting. Also, I mean, the design for the cover that makes it look like a bloody hand holding the book, genius. I love it.
like the character sheet is like, it's like a survey of questions, so it's like a cool way
Yeah.
to teach somebody
Yeah.
like to think about the backstory of a character and inhabit them a little bit without writing a novel. Like you don't have
Yeah.
to do that. You can just spend 5 minutes and think about it. And how do you express that at the table, like during the game? It has skill checks without like having attributes. Like it's there. It really, it does an interesting job sort of like teaching people the basic, like really distilling it down to its like the barest bones that you could, but it's still an RPG. And you can come out of that feeling like, okay, I actually maybe want to play something with a little bit more rules overhead than this and see what that feels like. So,
yeah, it's definitely a good stepping stone for people that aren't, comfortable at all. It's interesting, right? Like bringing kids in or somebody like that could work like really well. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily bring in like Jeff is a good example. There's this guy Jeff that played with us for a little bit. He was like he's into video games. He's played like all the Diablo games. He was into like Game of Thrones and like all that stuff. And he was playing Hero Quest with us, and then he would he came over and I was like, yeah, you want to play in an RPG? And he's like, oh, I don't know about all that. And I'm like, Jeff, you're literally playing the barbarian in Hero Quest. Every time you roll the die and you're attacking, you're yelling something anyway. Like you're going, I get him with my axe. I killed him. And I'm like playing RPGs is like, you're doing exactly that. Like there's no like, there's no step up here. This is just a lateral, just moving laterally. And he had a blast with it, and players like that, I think, are fantastic because they don't always know they don't know the character sheet, right? They don't know what they're capable of or what they can do, or like, oh, these are the buttons I can press, right? They're just, and they come up with all the crazy, all the crazy stuff to do.
yeah,
So,
I mean, again, like Dread, the character sheet has no skills or attributes on it at all. So
Yeah.
none of the
Yeah.
answers are on your character sheet, right? So it's like a good way to teach somebody
Yeah.
not to crutch on that because it just doesn't have it at all. It has
Yeah.
a role like the different, like the alien one. It has, there's like a medic and a scientist and a soldier, and so like people sort of naturally kind of inhabit these like archetypal roles, but they're not defined by abilities, skills, attributes. So
yeah, no, it's definitely cool stuff. Yeah. There's a whole chapter on making the questionnaire and all of that, and everything too. Yeah, it's
yeah,
really
like
good
there's
stuff.
so that's another angle I've shot, like Halloween, right? Like you play spooky RPG in Halloween,
Yeah.
spooky season. Like you've got the pirate Borg stuff going there, right? Like
Yeah.
there's the Speak Like a Pirate Day is like a thing. So it's
Yeah.
like, if you have friends that are into pirates, like, hey, you want to play this pirate game? Like there's sometimes ways to sort of piggyback off that kind of stuff and use a game to express that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Talk Like a Pirate Day would be awesome to do a pirate board thing. I don't know if I could run a game in pirate speak. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have to. That's for your players to do. Except I would make it a point to go up and talk to every single NPC.
Every NPC.
Now,
Deep, long conversations.
I don't know if you guys, know if you guys know anything about the system, but I just put a link up. I saw it last night. Also, Seventh Sea is going to be doing a Kickstarter for a 3rd edition, and I've
Really?
never got into the game, but man, it looks gorgeous. You look at the books and the artwork and the, and it's, but I don't know much about it. I don't think it's. I think it's less of a fantasy and more of a. It's set in a fantasy world though, but it's not like monsters.
I've
and
heard
stuff.
good things about it. I've always heard good stuff about it.
I picked up the 2nd edition a while ago, and it's now sitting on Roger's bookshelf.
Yeah.
I would be making something up if I could tell you what I didn't like about it, but I read the entire thing because I really wanted to like it. And about 20 pages in, I was like, oh, this isn't for me. And then as I read more, I was like, it's definitely not for me. But I don't even remember what it was. I wrote it off and I'm done with it. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy it. If you do, party on.
Yeah. I just wanted it for the like some of the ship stuff and all that in there. That's which is cool. But yeah, good times. I don't remember what the system was for that, but I remember there were some things I didn't like about it. But
It's
yeah,
weird because there's some systems that I'm like really struggle with. Like we'll go back to Shadowrun. I played a couple sessions of Shadowrun Second Edition way back in the day. Part of the reason why I never really got into the game and bought it is because I don't want trolls and orcs in my cyberpunk style game. If it was a post-apocalyptic / cyberpunk game, I'd be all in. But there's also the fantasy element with magic and everything else, and it kind of throws me off. It's the same with a space game. I've never played a space game, and I'd like to try. Like I have the Star Trek Second Edition starter set sitting there that we were going to try, and I bought the Dark Space stuff.
Yeah,
And I've looked at like I'm assuming, Matt, because of your title, you're into Mothership. Well, give me the elevator pitch, because I look at it and I see the pictures of like the deluxe box set, and it looks like a freaking board game to me.
Well, that's somewhat
No.
intentional. So Tuesday Night Games kind of cut their teeth as a board game company. Like Two Rooms and a Boom is their game, and they had a couple other games. That's actually like where they got started. But the designer of Mothership was a RPG gamer, and so the game is trying to apply, like in its design, like the visual design, it's using a lot of cues from board games, so that's definitely intentional. I actually think that's one of its strengths in terms of how the game presents itself. It has one of the best GM books you're ever going to read. And part of the reason why is it really teaches you how to play and run an RPG and how to play and run a horror game. And it uses actual play examples, and it really defines things in a way that is much better than most RPGs. It's not doing that stupid 2-page, what's an RPG, that doesn't really is boring for anyone that's played one and doesn't actually teach people who have never played one anything. It's not doing that. It talks all about like how to build suspense and mood, and like and they even get into like why there's no stealth mechanic. Like they talk a lot about these are the principles that we use to make the game. The game itself is really like the rules are sort of a distillation of something like Call of Cthulhu. It's a percentile roll under skill system. The character sheet is awesome. It's a flow chart. It takes you right through how to make a character right on the sheet.
Yep.
But the thing that I like the most about it is just some of these games, like Shadow Dark is a great example. Some games just sort of catch like the right people's attention. And Mothership is one of those things where it has over 700 third-party supplements out. Some of them are not good. A lot of them are really good. And like the system's been applied in all kinds of different ways. You want to do a crazy mega dungeon that's full of creepy androids, like an android factory that was left to its own devices for too long and it's full of creepy androids. They have that. They also have lots of little trifold like modules that are designed to get in and get out in 2 or 3 hours. So, there's like cool, there's a neat, what's the Zelda game where like you reset? Is it Majora's Mask? I forget the one where you there's like there's a Mothership module that's like that, where like every 10 minutes you're in a time loop and it resets.
Really?
Right. So you have to Groundhog Day your way through this thing, like getting a little faster each time to figure out how to get out of the time loop. It's really creative. So like, any kind of space horror that you think you might want to run, Mothership can do that.
So
now I will say
it's like a Tom Cruise movie.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's right.
Every time he dies, he's reborn on the same day.
Yeah, that's actually a great movie. Yeah, so I mean, I'm a big fan of it. I will say, like, you have to be okay with it not being a power fantasy kind of game. I think unlike Delta Green or Call of Cthulhu, where there's that thing of your character. When the first session you play your character, in a lot of ways, that's the best they're ever going to be. Yep. Right. There are like you can level up skills and stuff like that in those games, but like your sanity and eroding sort of makes you like weaker over time. Mothership doesn't really do that. Like you're going to reset your stress pretty effectively in between missions. But there isn't a ton of advancement. Most of the advancement comes from like you get credits and you use the credits to get better gear. and you could get a ship and outfit your ship, and so the advancement is more about like gear, getting better gear than about your character necessarily leveling in any kind of way. But I do like it. I think it's a lot of fun. I don't know that I'd want to run a campaign of like, I could see doing certain like connected adventures or doing some of the larger ones. They have sandbox worlds or mega dungeons. I don't think it's a game I would run the same group with the same characters through for a year or something like that. That's just not what it's designed for. But for what it is, I think it's really well made.
I think that's why I bit the bullet finally and backed Dark Space, because I do feel that running on the Shadow Dark engine, you can play it as a long campaign.
Mm-hmm.
It's designed where it can handle that.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when it gets here, because I've never played one of them. I've wanted to, but I can never find the one I really want. I mean, yeah, we've all seen the Aliens movies. Some of us are more gung-ho about them than others. To me, they're the kind of movie I watch every time they're on, but I won't seek it out to watch it. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things. I guess I've seen it too many times.
The nice thing about Mothership is, you're not stuck with just that trope. You can do whatever. It's a cool game. I played it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but that's really nothing new. I mean, like Savage Worlds, it's the same thing.
Sure.
You can apply that to anything you want. There's lots of systems out there that do these things now.
Yeah, I mean, Mothership is sort of, it's like there's some debate about, is it an OSR game, because it's not a retro clone, it's not using a D20 system, but like I know, but in how it feels, like the community and the way it plays, it has that sort of feel to it. It's like an easy to learn system. It's easy to pick it up and start playing, and it has lots of community support. So and similarly, like you can download the player's guide for free. Like if you want to just get the player's guide, they give it away.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Maybe I should actually read this at some point. I backed it.
Oh, there you go.
I backed it and I forgot it was even coming. It just showed up one day.
Mothership is definitely not OSR, but
can I
OSR adjacent? Yeah, go ahead.
Can I interrupt with a prop? Something Matt said a few minutes ago. He talked about, you open up the first page and the first thing it says is, what is an RPG? I talked about, I got my Legend of the Five Rings, 5th edition or whatever it was. One of the things I didn't like, check this out. The very first page.
Yeah.
What is a role-playing game?
What is a role-playing game?
And I was like, just don't need to read that, man.
They all do that.
Ken has a good point here. If Mothership is a nice dinner, Savage Worlds is like eating finger paints.
I don't know about that. Listen, Savage Worlds is a good system. There's a lot of ways you can apply it.
Yeah, Mike, some people like eating finger paints, and that's okay. That's okay. They're non-toxic. It's fine for you. If that's what you want to do, you do it.
Well, we know you were licking lead paint back in the day, so
back in the day, I'm still doing it now.
Still doing it.
Still doing it now.
Every time you go into a job, you're like, oh, that's lead paint.
Lead paint. Watch
chips.
this.
I need some chips to take home.
Yeah. There you go, Edgelord. No, it's interesting. I haven't really done anything with Mothership other than like this sort of alien style kind of game. And I think that's really the only, I mean, Matt, we've played some games with you that weren't exactly alien, the Mothership Blues one or whatever there, but that's still like a weird space horror kind of, vibe. Do you think you could run like just a generic sci-fi with Mothership?
I mean, I don't know that it would excel at that, just because I don't know that it has the depth of systems that would make you really feel like that's what you want. I mean, it's not Traveler, right? It's just not what it's not.
Right.
It's not a Starfinder. That's not what it is. But that box set has like another bug hunt in it, which is like, hey, if you want to do, you don't want to do Alien, you want to do Aliens, like they have that.
That's
Um,
Alien. I
yeah.
played that. That was a lot of fun.
yeah, I mean, it has the
And it was
mega
very
android.
much felt like Aliens. It was great.
Yeah,
If you
yeah,
like
and I
if you
mean,
like that stuff, it was great.
there, it's one of the funny things to me about Mothership is it's kind of says like, hey, this is not a game about combat. If you're in combat, you're losing. And then like the next page is like, check out this awesome 2-page spread of all the armor and guns we have. And then like one of the things in the box set is literally Aliens, the game, basically, right, where you're just killing bugs. So
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, there is flexibility in it, but if you were going to make a game that was sort of like, we talked about like a West Marches in Space or something like that, like Mothership's probably not the right game for that.
Yeah.
That's not really what it is. It's
I'm-
like a Monster of the Week kind of, it's like the crew with the worst luck ever kind of thing is going to be the game you're going to play.
Yeah. I think I want to run something like Star Trek Voyager with Traveler and just do a thing, make a hex crawl, generate it as you go. We get the hex map and say, okay, we're starting over here with these resources, and here's home, like all the way over
Yeah.
here in the other corner.
I think
And
that Wages of Sin for Mothership is like with everything that the Tuesday night guys make, it's like late as hell. But I think that's getting closer to fulfilling, and that's supposed to build out the concept of doing like a bounty hunter, like you're being a crew of bounty hunters, and what that
Okay.
looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Shots fired in the chat. We'll leave it at that. So there's a lot of stuff going on there about that. Yeah, it's interesting. I definitely want to play some more Mothership. I want to run a bunch of stuff. Maybe I'll run it for the kiddos. I don't know. It's hard. There's 10 kids right in the class, so it's hard to run.
There will be more.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll have to figure that out then. But, yeah. So that's like that's like not a problem, right? But obviously, like you can't run a straight like D&D game, right? We got to split the group or something like that. So yeah, that'll be interesting anyway to see that. So, yeah. So yeah, I definitely think Mothership's a good game, for new players, especially if they're into that kind of horror space kind of thing. What
Well,
else
so
is, like-
the thing with
Go ahead.
Mothership that can be challenging because I've had it go really well with new players. I've had it not go very well, and the thing about it is your characters aren't very good at most stuff. So
Oh, they're pretty
yeah.
fragile.
yeah, you got to be okay with not being successful all that often, and you have to be okay understanding
Sure.
that like things are very fatal, and that can be hard for new players to wrap their head around.
New players, my group would, especially the one that was here this week that just, he complained about the puzzle trap, like, and he couldn't, oh, that's not solvable. Well, sure it is. Just use your brain. It may not
Yeah.
be solvable today, but come up with a way. And if you can't, so be it. Move
Yeah.
on. You missed it. It's
Right.
not something you're able to accomplish. So he is definitely one of those players that would not. He doesn't like. He's upset with Shadow Dark right now because he doesn't like the role for casting because he's a cleric, and 3 times in a row he failed on his cure wounds, and he's like, that sucks. It's horrible. I'm like, so what do you want to do? You want to play something different? You want to change the system? What And he wants a D100 percentile based system, but he wants everybody to be able to learn everything if they choose to. He's not okay with classes having their own defined abilities. He's like, well, the wizard should be able to learn how to pick locks.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so when I ran Moonbase Blues that you guys played, there were a couple things that were obvious. So one is, okay, we understand the roles, like these classes and like how they would exist in this world. And 2, you've seen a horror movie before, right? So I ran that for a group of friends of mine, and I was like, I don't think you guys have ever seen Alien or Aliens, and I don't know that you've ever seen a horror movie before, because every choice that you're making flies completely in the face of what you would do if you were in a horror movie. So like, there's definitely like an idea of like, are these concepts familiar with your players or not? Because they're either going to connect with it and understand what's going on, or it's going to be a really weird, awkward time because they're making very strange choices that people shouldn't be making.
Yeah, and I think that's like looking back, and I'm saying like about the kids, right? To like try and find something. Like I have no idea what they connect to now, because every movie and IP and game like that's out there is really made for us, right? Like because companies know, right, when people hit their 40s, like generally they're already settled into life. They have a decent job or whatever. They're not
Disposable income.
broke college kid. Right. They got the disposable income. Right. And so that's why we're seeing, the Blade Runner stuff, the Alien stuff, the which Planet of the Apes just came out, right? Like I think all that stuff, and it's stuff from our childhood or whatever
Our
coming
day,
back.
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what I mean, there's always My Little Pony.
Yeah, I mean, there's Avatar: Last Airbender, but it's powered by the apocalypse, so that's like a very weird. That I don't like that marrying.
I don't know.
of
That's a
system and
weird.
IP.
I wouldn't put that on the short list for an
I wouldn't.
introductory game.
Yeah.
Because there's just too much to try and like explain and all that. I don't know. I just don't. Yeah. So that's weird.
I have to endorse Mothership. We end up talking about it a lot because we had such a good time with it, and really that's my point. I am so far away from being a space horror guy. I've seen Aliens 1, 2, and 3. I saw the Aliens versus Predator. I thought they were all dog shit except for 1 and 2. The rest were just hot garbage. And there's plenty of space horror movies out there. The only one that I ever thought was good, seriously, was Event Horizon, which I think is amazing. But I did not even want to play Mothership. I played it because Roger and I went to a con and we needed a game to play and say, hey, I signed us up for this. I have not had that much fun in an RPG in a really long time. Everything about that game either made me laugh because it was just exactly like Matt said. Every single decision we made was like, well, this is going to get us killed. That's what's going to happen. and we Forrest Gumped our way through both scenarios and somehow made it out. And I look back at it, and the whole blues thing, I keep forgetting the name of it. The whole time, my character was like, please just let us get to the spaceship. Please. He's an old man. He's like, I'm getting ready to retire. I just want to get out of here. And Roger's character's like, I got to go fix the toilet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm gonna, because we were both union. That was our characters. So I'm like, Teamsters. I'm gonna go with them and I'm gonna help fix the toilet. And the funny thing was though, Roger and I would go fix the toilet, and the other 3 players like, I'm gonna go investigate the blue light. And they end up getting shot to pieces by the crazy people. And Roger and I are like, over and over and over. But it was just stuff like that you don't find it in other RPGs. And it was so over the top that I was like, this game is freaking awesome. Yeah. And you don't have to be a space horror guy to enjoy this game. It's worth playing. I think it's a great introductory system.
Yeah. But Paul, it seems like big surprise. We disagree.
I get it. Like Monster of the Week, right? Like I think Monster of the Week could be a decent intro game because like if somebody likes Supernatural or X-Files or like there's a million Supernatural like kind of shows that are out there. I mean, it's channeling all of that. My challenge has been I've only played Powered by the Apocalypse once with someone running the game where I felt like they really ran it well and had their arms around it. Like, and I still struggle with the idea of like when I think about, hey, maybe I'll run one of these games. Like, it is sort of like almost like a parallel universe kind of thing. It's just is very different than all of the games that I've sort of ingested and not had a problem with. And what's weird is like the Forged in the Dark I don't have as much trouble with. Like, I actually find that easier to wrap my brain around than the Powered by the Apocalypse stuff. I don't know why that is, but I feel like if you had the right person who could run it the right way, like Monster of the Week might be a good one, and there's probably some other ones in there like Apocalypse World. There's maybe some content in there you don't want to use, but like it used to be Dungeon World. I mean, Dungeon World used to be the one people crutched on where they'd be like, oh yeah, you want to play D&D but not play D&D, like Dungeon World was the game that people recommended for
Yeah.
a long time. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's just not
I
for
didn't
me,
like
I
it
guess.
personally, but yeah, I didn't like it. I was just considering like the narrative stuff. Like there, I think in the PBTA games, there's a lot more on the players to like get put on the spot and have to come up with the narrative, than just following the story. That's I don't know. That's but that's what I was thinking of. But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I can't see the private chat. I don't know. Well, let me open it just in case if you guys are trying to say something to me there.
I did. I asked a while ago which Jeff.
Oh, Jeff. Jeff, Sis,
Thank you.
the
You
Star
know,
Wars
like
Jeff.
8.
Star Wars Jeff in Syracuse. Yeah, I do. I do know a lot
Stop
of Jeff. I don't know.
meeting Jeffs.
I don't know if I know more Jeffs or more
Stop
Matts.
meeting Jeffs.
I don't know.
Or Jeff's.
I think this is
Yeah.
my time to go because
Oh, is it?
I have to take out the garbage because you
Oh,
can't
boy.
because you'll be here until 10 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
TMI.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting me on the stream.
Thanks for coming. We'll
Thanks
see you
to
later.
the people who
Alright, good
came
to see ya.
just to see me.
Bye, Chloe.
Goodbye.
ya.
How do I leave?
You click
with
the button that says
the
leave.
Have you guys seen these from Fat Dragon Games? They're
Yes.
So I decided to just start trying to print them today because their original set was free, and then all their other sets. I think I like these. I think I like these a lot.
They look cool. What is that like
So-
a moon?
No, these are just the
Up there, it's
regular,
just
the regular field
crater.
tile with rocks on them.
Oh, it's just rocks.
So-
Okay.
So they're
Alright.
going to get sprayed brown, dry brush brown, dark gray rocks, dry brush rocks, and then flock the whole thing. The nice thing is they make edge tiles that go around it with
Yeah.
using the Dragon Lock clips. What I'm going to do is actually make a whole board that fits my table with the edge tiles glued onto it, so it's a fixed thing, and then I'll use it to set it up
Yeah.
so nothing moves, and then I can actually set it up ahead of time if I want, and literally set it in the other side
Set
of
it
the room.
somewhere else. Yeah.
Hey, pick it up and carry it and put it on the table, and it's all ready to go. They look really nice. I saw some guy on the Fat Dragon Games thing that printed a whole bunch of them, and they were all flocked and painted with the river and all that stuff, and they looked amazing. And today he just released the cobblestone tiles ones,
Oh, cool.
the cobblestone road. So I'm gonna print them and see. And I figured, you know what? These took me like 7 hours each. I got 2 more going. I'll do another set of 4 tonight. They don't take me that long. They don't cost me that much to print. And if I don't like them, I'll bring them and put them on my booth at Central New York and see if somebody wants, I'll just sell them. That's all.
Yeah. I've seen those. Those are really neat. I thought about like doing doing the table with them.
I do think after that one guy showed his picture of his whole table with them, they look way better than putting down a neoprene battle mat.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
do. They just look phenomenal.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I've been looking and doing some neoprene, battle mat stuff. I mean, I do that for
Handy.
yeah. I mean, I do that for like Gaslands and stuff, but I kind of like having the just rolling it out, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
that's true.
So yeah, you use a lot of battle mats, Takato.
Yeah, I mean, depends on what I'm doing. I mean, there's one on the table pretty much at all times. Like
Me
Monster
too.
Fight Club makes some good ones. They're 2-sided, which is nice, and they
Yeah,
come in
yeah,
different
that's cool.
sizes. I got the biggest one they made. It's like a grass forest. You can use it for anything like that. It's pretty nice. And then I think the other side, I've never really used the other side. Maybe once. It's more of a brown earth tone thing, and I have a couple others. But yeah,
Mine
it's
are
pretty
all
handy.
4 foot by 6 foot big neoprene battle mats.
Yeah. I
And
have a few smaller ones, but then
And-
those were like early ones I got, and then I just got
Yeah.
bigger ones
And the only-
as
the
my
only-
table got bigger too.
The only one I have with a grid is this gray dungeon one that I use. And I bought that one with a grid because a lot of times I just use like blocks and whatever to make the walls, so I can just pop down a dungeon easy.
Yeah,
All of my outdoor ones, I don't go with grids on them.
Me either.
Just a
I'm
prime
thinking about
grid.
not going with grids for dungeons and stuff now.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
I'm getting out of it. It's easier to just approximate. Can I do this? Sure. Or
Yeah.
no, it's too far. Or yeah, as long as you got players that are willing to go with the flow. I got one guy that he's not in the group anymore, but he even when I tried to go without him, I'm like, Sean, you don't need the grid, and just tell me where you want to go, and I'll tell you if you can or not. And he'd be, he wanted to count squares and everything and exact, like I move here and move.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it
No, I get it, but
it
it's
can take
I
away
mean,
from the game.
Yeah, right.
It really can.
Right. That's why I just want to use just do it by eye, especially like the way that Shadow Dark does it. You know what I mean? Like it makes it really easy to approximate.
Yeah.
You know.
I'll tell you,
close and
playing
near.
Shadow Dark, I am missing some aspects of 2E, and that's because of the fact that I've run 2E for 30 plus years.
Sure.
But I think about it and I'm like, well, if I were to start another 2E game, this guy is going to be wanting to stack strength, and this is this, and and all the little things that Shadow Dark doesn't even deal with. I'm like, I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to I've got the guys. I got to play the fighter, and I got to get my 18 strength, and I got to specialize in this, and I don't know. There's too many things they worry about that take away from the game. Don't really help it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, every player wants to be as good as they can, so I understand it, but it doesn't help the game.
Yeah, but there's a point. I think there's some players that kind of thrive on the fact that they're not, that they don't have 18 in all their stats or whatever.
There are some.
You know what I mean? It's like,
but there's also some
that's fun to play.
There's some that
think.
don't find the game fun at all unless they have that.
Sure. No, I understand people want to min max or whatever, but I mean that's why 5e or whatever 5.5, I guess we're calling it now. That's the game for them, right? Because that's the game where they can move other pieces around and say, okay, this is what I want to do, and I'm
still not as bad as 3.5 was.
Yeah, I think 3.5 is slightly better than.
Well, it might be overall, but it's
better.
way rules heavier than 5e.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, especially with the addition of all the books and everything else. Yeah.
When we came back to playing they had already moved on to 4th edition and soon to be 5th edition. And we were going to hey, let's try out 3.5. And we were looking at the books and I'm like, oh, let's try Pathfinder. It's 3.5 plus. And then we started looking at all the books and it's like, how many players' handbooks were there? How many DMs guides were there? How many, there's just so much to it. We were like, this isn't the game I remember.
Well, Paul, do we agree on something? Hang on. There's got to be something in here that I disagree with. Big fan of Shadow Dark simplicity. Anybody that cries over ancestries not having stat bonuses should just skip it. No, I agree. I agree. Plenty of options. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if people want that stuff, I mean, yeah, I get people don't like that. Oh, no, nobody can see in the dark. Just the monsters. I think that's amazing.
I do too.
That's awesome.
I do too.
I love it, and I know people cry about that, or ancestry should have stat bonuses or whatever, but you don't really need them, right? Because you get on your level ups, on the odd levels, you get to roll on the thing, and you could get stat bonuses for the stats appropriate for your class, right? So I think it's fine. Yeah. Wow. So I think we're full agreement on that, Paul.
I do hope that Kelsey doesn't take the Troll Lord Games approach. I think that a couple years down the line, she looks at what works and what doesn't and comes out with a solid 2nd edition. Make it compatible, but improve on it. Rather than be like Troll Lords and be like, nope, we did it. We did it on the first try. No, you didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is a good topic for this particular show, but I think it'd be a good thing to think about at some point. I'm struggling with that already. The Shadow Dark core book has a lot of it is really GM stuff. It's
Yes.
like content generation,
Yeah.
right? And then you have these zines coming out that have like a lot of player facing information. They're spread across 6 zines. And then you have more GM content creation and rules around like travel and stuff like that. I think at some point she's going to need to take those books and reorganize them in a
Yeah.
way that makes more sense,
Yeah.
because it feels like that stuff is just really scattered all over all these
Yeah.
products now.
I
That's
agree.
just my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah. Take
There's a-
take
if
the
you look-
take all those books, right? Combine them all, split them into 3 core books or 2 core books.
Let's see.
You know,
if you look at
GM's book, player's book. Go ahead, Mike.
it's funny because if you look at Shadow Darklings, it's an easy way to just put it all together. If you go to like create a character and you just look, there are trying to think what the so in the core book you have 4 classes. In
Yeah.
Shadow Darklings, which is a compilation of so I see the Paladin's not even in here. So the playtest stuff isn't in here. Necromancer's not in here. But you've got Bard, Basilisk Warrior, Desert Rider, Fighter, Knight of St. Yidris, Pit Fighter, Priest, Ranger, Rascadai, Sea Wolf, Seer, Thief, Warlock, Witch, and Wizard. I know there's at least the Paladin and the Necromancer. And then there's 2 more that supposedly, I think from the Kickstarter, are going to be like live stream created with participation. That's a lot of classes, but they're not in the core book. And a lot of them are very specialized. Like I wouldn't allow most of them in a regular campaign because,
Yeah, right.
they're specialized towards the zine they had. And I agree. I don't like having player facing stuff and DM stuff together. I mean, it's like if my players want to go out and buy the zines, I'm going to struggle to run any adventures out of it because some of these guys just can't help themselves from reading that stuff.
Yeah, right. I think there's something to be said about the initial book and having a single compact tome that does all
Yeah.
that stuff, and it's simple and it has those core classes. But I think she's going to have an issue with like, and also the zine thing. I like zines as much as the next person. This is one of my issues with Mothership. Roger, Jason, I don't know if you ever saw, but like I think I've showed you guys before. I took those 4 Mothership zines and like Lulu printed them into a hardback because I didn't feel like carrying around a bunch of separate zines that I had to look through stuff. That's just me. Some people like that. But I just think like organizationally, like she ought to at least offer the opportunity to take this stuff and put it in a way that makes more sense to most people who have been playing RPGs for a long time.
And on that's something that that Matt Tapp with that Barrows and Borderlands. So he made his set look like the old white box, right?
Mhm.
And so it's got the 3 kind of zine booklets in there, but you can go on drive-through and you can buy a hardcover of all of those all together in one book. Then it's it's fantastic. I forget what he calls it, complete edition or something like that. It's got all the books in one book, and this way you can buy it that way or buy the box set and have the 3 books however you want it. So
Is some of that happening though with the Western Reachers? There's a bunch of I haven't really.
There
I mean,
is-
I backed it, but I haven't looked at it in a long
There
time.
is
I thought there
they
was
are split into
putting
2
some
books.
stuff together.
There is going to be a player's book and then a GM's book for that stuff.
yeah,
But a lot of it's just setting stuff. It's going to be the classes because all of the zine classes are going to be in
yeah. There
that
you go. There
player's
it is.
book.
Yeah,
And that's the other thing. There's so much overlap. She created all the zines, and you can even buy hardcover versions of them in the Kickstarter. But then all that content is duplicated in the Western Reaches. So I don't know.
yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, Paul, you're right on the clones, and it's interesting, right? Like you see all these clones come out, and they're all they all have like 1 or 2 rules that are different from from the previous one, and that's just the house rules that somebody's using. Yeah, Matt, you don't have a zine tub? I've been 3D printing for Joe because he's got a ton of zines and stuff. I've got a bunch of just like these little zine holders, like little magazine holders, whatever, for the size of zines in different colors.
I gotta look into something because it's like they're just I don't know what to do with them, man. They're just I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
Closing
right.
in on me, man.
the problem is if you put them on a
They're
shelf,
everywhere.
they're so small and they're just folded. So you put them on a shelf, you don't know what's there until you pull it off the shelf to look.
Well, yeah, I'll try to find a specific one, and then I'm like tearing, the house apart, trying to. Where did I put that one zine amongst all these bookcases and all
Yeah.
these books?
Yeah, I get a couple of these that I've been printing, and they hold like that holds, Vermis and
Yeah, but even
Um,
that. So if I have
other
like 8
stuff.
of those, it's not like
You-
the spine
yeah.
tells me what I'm. I
Right.
mean, I could alphabetize them or something.
yeah,
I
you have to
guess, but-
alphabetize or like
yeah.
label.
Ugh.
Put a label on which one's which. Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
good way to do it.
I actually went through the zines and I edited each one and pulled out all of the character classes, made them into single ones, every one into a single PDF, and they're all sitting in a folder. Every one of the classes in the playtest, so I can
Oh,
combine
yeah.
them into one.
That's like.
Yeah, Joe, so the official GM Rogers scene
Look,
holder.
yeah,
so
like
maybe
for-
the neighborhood.
Like if you guys have done any of the Stennard stuff, like that's how Nick does all these Stennard character classes. Like he just each of these classes is like a little zine
Yeah.
that has like just that character class's rules in there, and it's awesome for playing with him at cons because he'll be like, "Oh, you're the proselytizer.
Yeah.
Here's your little booklet," and you get everything. But like at home, if I'm trying to run this freaking thing, I got like a, it's like
right.
this clutch of like, man, are you gonna make a even if you don't print it, just make a PDF that merges all this stuff together into one thing that I can, as someone running a game that I can use to manage it. I don't know. Maybe it's
Yeah.
just me,
I'm still not a huge fan. I know a lot of people love it, but I'm not a huge fan of the A5 format. I don't. The books are super thick. I would prefer to just have a standard size book, black and white.
I don't know.
Give me the 1E
I
player's
wish-
handbook. Put it,
I wish they were all A5 size.
I don't.
I kind of.
I hear you. I think there's like there's like a limit. Like I think Shadow Dark is like this is like the limit.
That's as big as I
Like
can
if it-
get. Yeah.
Right. Like I couldn't imagine like Joe Block's game. I mean, he's got 2 books the
God.
size of DCC.
Yeah,
or,
but that
or like the DCC book. Like
Can
he'd
you
have to have
imagine what
one
that
of
would
these
look
with the spells? One of these,
Yeah, but listen, not for nothing. I love Shadow Dark, so don't take this the wrong way. But not for nothing, that book doesn't need to be even half of that size. It's like
Sure.
an elementary school kid is writing their paper. It's like double spaced, large print. Let's
but-
take up as much space as we can with big fonts.
I like it.
I can read it without my glasses. And I'm not trying to be
Yeah.
funny. I like that format. I open it up and like, oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I can read this.
I do
And-
too.
And Ducato and I were talking about this the other night. I love the half size. When I set it on the table, there's still room for my dice and my pencil.
Yep.
It's never in the way. And
Yes.
I'm not. It's not like a normal size book is really that much in the way. But honestly, man, they are. I really
know.
like that. I set it down and then like I've got all this space in front of me. I'm good to go. I think it's a great format. I really do.
That
Yeah,
book
I
is
love it.
designed by somebody who plays and runs games and like is making a table usable product, which I appreciate. I agree with you, Jason, 100%.
yeah,
Same.
Paul. Forbidden Lands books are fantastic.
They're awesome.
Quality on those.
I will
Yep.
I will say though, the only time you run into an issue with table space is if you're using terrain and minis. Because if you're not, whether it's a 7-inch book or an 11-inch book, I mean, come on, your table's got to be. Even if you're sharing a little table, it's 30 inches. The only time there's really an issue with that.
Yeah,
is
again, I mean, if you don't have any like battle map or anything on the table, then yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, then it doesn't matter, right?
I don't know. That's just
It's like
my
I have like a collection of the Pathfinder 1E, the pocket editions, and I would rather tote the hard part I have with those, and
Can't read 'em.
this is right, exactly. The font on that is so small. I will take Shadow Dark any day of the week because I like Jason. I don't need I don't need my reading glasses. I don't need anything. I can just open it up and read it. The Pathfinder books, I use those a fair amount for like resources and stuff. And they're great because they're small, don't take up a lot of space, but they're pain in the ass to read.
Yeah,
It's because they
I-
reduced the
yeah.
whole thing. Like,
Yes.
it's
Shrunk it
page
all.
for page, right? And I'm like, okay, this is the fine print on a contract. I can never read this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a real moment of realizing my age there because I did the same thing. I was like, oh yeah, this will be easy to put, and I was like, yeah, I can't read this. I immediately
Even with
resold
my
it.
glasses,
Can't read
my
it.
God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Like OSC, same. They have that A5 size. That's awesome at the table.
They did
It's
great.
awesome.
Yeah, great format. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, Mike, you're on your own with that one.
Hey, listen, you guys are all entitled to be wrong. That's fine.
yeah. All your not hot takes you preface with like, no one's gonna agree with me this, and then you drop that hot take that nobody agrees with.
I dropped it. I dropped it last week, and they all argued with me too. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't mind. I don't
The-
mind them.
The
They're just
Forbidden
not my
Lands books, the same. Those are. I think they're a little bit bigger than A5, but
They're a little bit bigger. They're nice though.
they're beautiful.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. That was another great deal. I found that I'd never even heard of it, and my friend that owns the local game store, I was talking about wanting to play at some point an exploration game. He's like, "Have you ever played Forbidden Lands?" I'm like, "Never even heard of it." He's like, "You need to play that." And I at the time I found it on Amazon. They wanted like $30 for the box set, and it's like, oh, I'll buy it. And then you get it, and you're like, it's got these two beautiful freaking books, and I was like, holy crap! Yeah, those things are. I buy every
But you,
Forbidden Land things that comes out.
And
because
I
it's
was
beautiful.
the same as Staccato. I was out at Millennium Games out in Rochester, and I saw it on the shelf, and I was like, Free League? How have I never heard of this? So I messaged
Yeah.
Stan and Roger, and I was like, what is this Forbidden Lands? I have no idea what this is. They told me about it, and I was like, well, I should get it then. So I got it. And when I got it home, I was like, my goodness.
Yeah.
This is absolutely, again, Free League. Absolutely incredible workmanship. It's beautiful.
so you guys
Um,
touched on one thing about it though. The thing with those A5 books is they will not work unless you're playing a very rules light system like Shadow Dark or
Yeah,
OSD.
right.
Because as
Yes.
soon as you start putting a denser rule system in there, you can't
Correct.
fit them in that book. The book gets too thick.
Well,
There's
I'm
or
fine with
the
that because I don't want
or
it.
the-
It's a
yeah,
rules system, so.
I mean, OSC is OSC Advanced really a rules light system? Is that where we're at?
No.
No,
I mean,
I'm-
it's not dense by any.
it's not dense. It's pretty rules light. If you compare it to AD&D, it's rules light.
I mean, I guess. I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to play Pocket Warhammer 4th edition or something, but like, I think, I mean, OSC is, I would say, like, right of center. If far right is like a crunchy game, like, I don't think it's in the middle. I definitely think I wouldn't call it rules light. It might feel like that because it's based on a game we've been playing for 40 years, but it's definitely not. It's not a rules light game. I mean, Shadow Dark's core rules could be in like a 20-page booklet.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, just to give you an idea, though. I mean, you how is it? It's right here.
Paul, I just want to
These-
read Paul's comment here.
These two little thin ass books
Yeah.
are all of
Yeah.
that.
Right. Right.
I mean, that's how much they needed to,
Yeah.
how big they needed to make these books.
Yeah, but it's not just that.
Yeah, but they
Okay,
did
but they
clarification
also
and
yeah,
layout
and
they
everything.
also took the nonsensical and broken parts of that and reorganized it and made them make
Yeah.
sense for somebody that speaks normal English. So I mean, some of that is like purposeful work to make what was in BX more gameable and more accessible to most
and that-
people without having to reference anything else.
In OSC, my opinion, they're like the gold standard for layout and format.
Oh, I think it's fantastic layout and format. I'm just saying that they took those two little books and managed. I don't want to say condensed it because they
Yeah.
actually expanded it into that.
I
Well, it
think
also
there-
has
yeah, but isn't there
AD&D
what-
stuff in it too.
Now
I think
that's
Yeah, I
that-
don't know.
Yeah, but that makes it bigger.
yeah, you're right, but that's
Come on,
only like 10 pages in the whole book.
This Paul, I'm interested in this Kickstarter. I don't know if it's still out there, but like this is my whenever I look at dice now, when I'm at a convention or whatever, and I look at dice, like I have to be able to see what the number is 10 feet away. Like that's my that's like my whole thing now where I'm like, nope, can't read that, can't read that. I've got too many sets of dice that I can't see what the numbers are. So high contrast stuff. Oh man, I love that.
That's
so if
like
you
a
could send me a
huge
link for
pet
that,
peeve
it'd
of
be
mine.
awesome.
Yeah, when people use dice
Yeah.
and they can't read their own dice and they got to pick them up, like that drives me crazy. That's like a huge pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to ban some dice at my table because I got players that use dice that I can't see, they can't see. This is what I use.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to miss it. And I'll tell you what I found out was if you turn on blacklight, these freaking things glow too. They really stand out if you turn on a blacklight.
Yeah. No, then that's like my standard now for dice. Like I got to be able to read them across the length of the table. Like it's not worth it, you know. So yeah, yeah, BX is OSC, yeah, classic fantasy. Yeah, I mean there's a lot. I mean there's something to be said, right? Like Mike, you were saying about the stuff, right? Like if you take basic, right, BX, like that's this, right? And this is, you know, full size, you know, and it's only, you know, so I mean I like this. This isn't a bad format, I think. But I mean I think there's something to be said about the OSE books, you know, being the small format.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I like them. I like the Shadow Dark books. I like the OSE books. I love the way that they're laid out. Although OSE is laid out way better than Shadow Dark, I do agree that Shadow Dark is kind of, even in the core book, I think some parts of it are kind of all over the place. You know, you've got a section about game mastering, but then a section about running the game.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they could have really been combined.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad, but no, you're right. There are parts where you got to jump around.
Yeah, but I would prefer to have it in two separate books. You know, have the players in a GM's book.
Yeah, I bought that set, Chthonic, for that reason. It was easy to read, and the D4s, the like the square thing that rolls, or whatever. Or is it is it like the pyramid there that rolls on the side? I don't remember which one, but yeah, it's a really cool set. It's like 1.5 times the size of a normal D20 or dice set. Not quite double. It's pretty cool. So, yeah. So, I mean, Shadow Dark, I think, yeah. And what's the Shadow Dark book is $60? Is that the,
I think so.
Man, that's not terrible, right? I mean, considering books nowadays or whatever, but bringing in like a group of people, I think I'd rather buy, 6 copies of Basic Fantasy or something to introduce people to RPGs, you know.
Oh, I mean, yeah. If you're going to get a book for everybody, that's
or
that is a
Swords
good
and
way to
Wizardry
go.
Light or something like that, you know.
Yeah, but you say it, but we played Basic Fantasy, and sure, it was cheap to get into. But how long did we play it before we said, okay, enough of this? It's time to move on to something else.
I mean, enough though. I mean, enough. I mean, that was us, right? But I mean, getting a new player interested to do like a campaign that was what 20 sessions. I mean, I don't know how did we play that many?
I don't remember. It's been a long time.
I mean, if 10 to 20 sessions, I don't think that's bad to introduce somebody to the game. I mean, you don't want to take somebody new, right, to RPGs and be like, you're in this for a year and a half, every week.
Lockdown.
And true, because of the low price point, I guess we did get our money's worth out of it. I think that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. I see something like if somebody's going to play for the first time, like I wouldn't want them to say, I wouldn't want to tell that person, hey, you got to buy this $60 book.
Sure.
And I know that's not the case, right? Like we got extra copies or whatever, things like that. But with Basic Fantasy, I can introduce somebody to the game. They can come to the table and I can say, hey, here's a book. You could take this home with you. You do whatever you want with it. I'm not doing that with one of my Shadow Dark books.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Stan, did you find a second edition handbook?
Nope.
No,
not yet.
I had asked him about it. He got back to me and said that he looked through his boxes. He didn't have one in there.
Wow, I appreciate you asking. We'll be all right. We got a couple at the table, so
I mean, like I said, if if you don't care about the art, just get the reprint. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, if
as
it gets to be
usable.
a hassle, I'll just buy one of those.
Yeah, it's just as
They're
usable.
cheap.
And to be honest, to
cheap
get
on
a
drive-through.
soft cover reprint off a drive-through, you can mark it up, do whatever you want, and probably
Yeah.
don't care.
Yeah, it won't matter because it's not like
Yeah.
a collectible anything. That's what I like about those.
I'll look when I'm going to WizardCon at the end of April. I'll take a look and see if there's any.
I may
You know,
I may
copies
be
out
going to I'm still thinking I'm going to Concoction with Pete. Just gonna go and play some games. So if I do that, I'll check the flea market too and see if there's anything there.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I got some.
Yeah.
I'm getting. I don't know what I'm getting, but I got a message because my friends at Gamma. So
Mhm.
Yep.
he's there. He said there was a bunch of Pirate Borg stuff there that was exclusive. So he's grabbing it for me and another guy. And
Oh,
I have no
cool.
idea what I'm getting. But
So who's played Pirate Borg so far?
I've only played in the setting. I've never
So-
played the actual game.
I've played
Well,
it a couple
played in the
times.
setting.
I was told by somebody that's played in a couple games that it's a fun game for one shots, but he couldn't ever see running a campaign with it.
No, it's like any Mark Borg derivative that way, right?
Is it? I've never
I would
played
say-
it.
I would say that Mork Borg could run short campaigns. I
Pirate
think
Borg
if you're gonna
definitely
be-
could.
Pirate Borg, I think if you're running 6 sessions or less, I think a lot of the Borgs could do it.
I don't
Pirate
think-
Borg, I think, has a more fleshed out like
It does.
world and things going on and all of that. So you could probably, but yeah, I think the mechanics of it and whatnot, I mean, would get.
I played,
you run out of stuff
the-
in
in
a
the-
hurry, I think.
in the setting, but we used Dragonbane and we played like 16, 18 sessions, I think. The setting was great. I had a blast. It was
Yeah.
fun. Very weird stuff and pirate stuff and I got to play Dragonbane. So
Dan Dakota was looking for a second edition
Yeah.
player's handbook. That's what he was looking for.
He was specifically looking for the 89 Easily cover
yeah.
because the other stuff's available. He was looking for one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dan's the same thing. Pirate Borg could run a short campaign. Pirate Borg released the concept ship's crew behind you. So if your character bites this, use a justified replacement. Which is great because you could set out on a ship with 30 people and you only need to know who your 4 players are and then
Yeah, there's more
Fill in.
rules. It's got more rules to it than core Mork Borg did. I mean, there's like ship to ship
Yeah.
combat, and there's more. They've definitely added to it, so it's got a little bit more depth to it. But both from a setting standpoint and a rule standpoint, would I want to play it weekly for a year? I don't think so. But I
Yeah.
could see doing like mini campaigns of it.
Yeah.
There's some cool classes too. Like there's the one that you can only be like if your character dies. Like there's definitely some neat stuff in it. I think it's pretty cool. I'm interested
Yeah.
to see like what they do with this Kickstarter if mine ever shows up. That'll be kind of nice if mine ever comes. I'm excited.
yeah. I hope it shows up for you.
I went back and looked, and I actually looks like I added on the neoprene hexwater mat and punch out naval combat tokens at some point.
Cool.
So yeah.
I don't know. I don't wonder if I added the or did I have the tokens? Did I get those already? In the first shipment? I don't know. My shipment got split up.
A lot of people use those
kit things.
What was that like a CCG that was not really cards, or it was like the little punch out boats? You guys remember that game?
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, people use those for Pirate Borg. But it's like the most common thing I've seen for making if you're going to do the boat combat. That's what people buy those on eBay and punch those out and use those little ships.
Yeah. Black Powder and Brimstone. Yeah.
I thought that'd be good to
looked at
run
that.
like a Warhammer style game without having to use Warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It could be. A lot of things. Let's see. How much do you think the theme has to do with Pirate Borg being more well received than Mork Borg? Yeah,
People love pirates. Yeah.
People love pirates, and I think the Doom Metal thing is like that was short lived. I mean,
I am that guy. Yep.
Like, it's cool, I guess. Like, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't want to play that. So
Yeah, we literally walked by the table and I went, ugh. And then I saw Pirate Board. I'm like, ooh, pirates. Seriously,
Yeah.
that was my reaction. I picked it up and bought it right there on the spot. It was good to go.
Yeah. No, the setting is definitely great, and
Yeah.
the layout is, I think, a lot better than it's mostly readable. But yeah.
And it does
Yeah,
not
right.
hurt at all that Luke and Tyler are extremely active in the community.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
They respond instantly to emails, on Discord. They're very active with it. That helps a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, Dan, that's just what I was just kind of saying. It's definitely easier to parse. It still has that same kind of, art style where every page is a different art style, but they made it like actually legible.
Mhm.
So yeah, Morkborg, there's stuff in there that you just can't read. And I know people say you can go to the site and you can download the art free version or whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah,
You
I
shouldn't have
don't
to
buy
do
a
that.
book so that I can then
Yeah.
be forced to go to another website.
So I can buy the
Right.
version that I can actually read. Yeah.
Right.
Well, the PDF one is the Bare Bones PDF is free. I believe the one without the art is actually you can just download it for free. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. No, and Pyroporg is cool. I'd love to run that. Do a short campaign.
Yeah, I mean, at least with the original product, that whether you like it or not, like that art punk sort of style to it is like inseparable from the game. Like the just
Yeah.
reading the
Yes.
rules, you'd be like, "What the hell is this pile of crap?" Like it's,
Yeah.
It'd be like, oh, I want to watch Dune, but I want to take out all the weird visuals and stuff like that and just watch it. You know what I mean? They're like, it's like they're the same.
Yes.
Like that's what makes the product. And it's okay to not like that for sure. I totally get that. But yeah, I think like definitely being like, oh, well, look at the Bare Bones one. Like that. Okay. That's going to be boring as hell there's not enough game there to make it a great game for most people. So
Apparently you could pay a lot of cash and get a Bare Bones physical print version.
What a deal.
yeah.
Bargain.
Take out the art and charge me more. Okay.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah. I don't know. So, yeah. So I guess that, that settles that. What else? I think I've gone through all my games that are good, good for newcomers, right? I mean, I definitely wouldn't start with, first edition AD&D. Like, read this. But
I mean, why
yeah.
not? Many of us did.
Yeah,
That's
but well,
see, Mike, I
yeah.
agree. That's exactly what I
Right.
was going to say.
I think it takes a different mindset, right?
I
Like,
think it takes a DM. You
Sure.
take a DM that's willing to teach them.
Yep.
It's not. I mean, I don't think it's that hard to learn.
No.
There's also very similar games that are much better written than
Yeah.
those
Why
games.
would you not give somebody OSE? Like, it's not the rule set that I have an issue with. It's like the Gygaxian tomfoolery that, like, your
Right.
average person is
You hear
not
that,
going to
Roger?
be okay.
yeah. No, I know. I know what he said.
4 out of 5 panelists agree.
That's okay. It's still an amazing system.
It's a feature, not a bug. Like it is.
it's-
I like to go back and read those first edition
Yeah.
books. I do. I
Yeah.
also read them in the early 80s when I was a young kid, and I liked it. I mean, I just don't think you could take somebody now and be like, "Oh, you watch Stranger Things? Why don't you read this?" Like it's just not.
Right,
It's not
right.
a good gameable product for most people.
You could tell them
Yeah.
you like Stranger Things. Well, this is the game they were playing.
This is the game they're
Yeah, but it's
playing,
not. But it's definitely not, though.
Yeah, right.
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 Yeah.
No, and I mean, I could see like playing, OD&D or, any of the 6 versions of basic, D&D that they came out with. I think that's those would be the right ones to go with and not 1E. Unless somebody's like really a gamer, right? If they're like a board gamer or like if somebody plays like a lot of Warhammer or whatever, like you can, you can kind of teach, that stuff because they're maybe used to like rule stuff. But somebody that's brand new to the game, or gaming, like, you can't really say, oh, hey, here's this complex rule set,
Well, I think if you stay away from the later splat books, I think 2E Core is a better game than 1E and Basic.
Oh boy.
BX,
You-
back me.
It's time for you to go to bed, Mike.
No.
Again, Mike, I agree. We talked about this
Yeah.
last week. Mike and I will dogpile on Rogers. Second edition is
Yeah.
better than first.
Rogers,
Um,
Rogers, one of those guys, the snobs with his nose in the air. He's not playing the game, but it's still better because he says so. Because the old school guys say so.
Man, Roger and I
Well,
argued.
it's not.
We,
Is that-
we had intense discussions for
Um,
weeks before we played this campaign because he wanted to do first edition, and I was like, "You are smoking your own supply, dude." No,
I would run it, but I don't. There's like not enough players as it is, so
yeah.
that's.
Hey,
the-
Roger,
that's
what do
the
you think about what's the oh man, I just forgot the name of it. The superhero game that you guys were playing recently.
Sentinels.
Oh, the Sentinels?
Yeah. What would you
I
think about
like it.
that? That would
I
that
like
be
it.
good? That'd be good. Like if you got somebody that's into Marvel movies and stuff. Because I
I
don't think that
think-
new Marvel system's very good.
No, the Marvel system.
Yeah.
The issue with the Sentinels game is character creation. Like I wouldn't want to do that to a new person because it literally will.
Yeah, you give 'em
it'll take you
pre-gens,
an
right?
hour. Yeah. So if you were to use pre-gens, I think it's fine. I think the system works great for that. Yeah, definitely with that. But yeah, with having to make do character creation, it's got like some cool stuff that I think would be neat, to have people go through. But like, somebody new, like I don't want I want to just hand them a character sheet and get them into the game and see if they like it. I don't want to
I
say,
ha-
hey, go through this hours of prep.
Yeah, I haven't played it, so I can't vouch for it personally, but I suspect I have it, and I suspect it's really good. For this would be like the Outgunned stuff because it has like,
Oh.
lots of different.
That's Savage
yeah.
Worlds.
Yeah.
What?
Outgunned. Isn't that Savage Worlds?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, it was. It's built off of what was that game? Simon bought the license, and then they transitioned to their own. So there's like Outgunned Adventures. So there's
Guys.
like one that's like Indiana Jones.
Yep,
They have
yep.
one that's like World of Assassins. That's like John Wick.
I
They have a
actually have a bunch
superhero
of them in
one.
PDF. 'Cause
Yeah,
We looked at it. I started with one of the dossiers and I read it and I'm like, oh, this game's kind of cool.
yeah.
It's very cinematic.
Yes. Yeah, it's supposed to be really, really good. And the system is fairly simple. I haven't gotten around to running it, but that's probably a good one.
I saw they just released another anthology of adventures for it this week.
Yeah, I think Free League. I think Free League publishes that now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes,
it might be
they
Free
do.
League
Yeah.
published, but it's
Yeah,
not a year zero.
No. It's its own thing. It's by it's in a pair of Italian guys that
Yes.
Yeah.
own it now and have rewritten it. Honestly, I looked at it and the whole cinematic thing. I was like, oh, I have to tell the story, and that's not. I don't want to tell a story. I want to be an actor in the story.
Hmm.
So that's one of the few Free League things that I have not picked up. I just wasn't interested in it.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. We were talking about different systems to introduce people to. Lots of people like James Bond. Have any of you guys ever played? Oh Christ, our crutch! I just forgot the name of it.
Top Secret.
Top Secret? Yeah,
No, not
that's what I
Top
was- that's
Secret.
what I
It
was
was by AEG, early 2000s. Spycraft.
Oh,
I had it.
Yeah,
Never
I haven't
played
played it.
I loved it. It's 3.0, so it was that whole era. Man, I absolutely loved it. So if you're a James Bond fan, Spycraft is a good way to get somebody into an RPG because you're playing way over the top gadgets and super spies and all that. Very cool. And it was 3.0, so it's super easy to pick up.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you guys think about? I know we're just over the 3 hour mark, but I was thinking about this. So I wanted to bring this up. What are you guys thinking about, like introducing somebody new and just doing some just very like simple abstract system, like just getting with a few people together, saying, okay, here's a D20. Don't even give them stats.
I knew
Right.
you were going to say that.
Say,
D20
like,
and index
just-
card.
Hey, you're you're what do you want to be? Like you want to be, a warrior, you want to be a Jedi, you want to be a priest, you want to be a gunslinger, like write that down. You know what I mean? Like that's your character, right? And you're like,
It
here's
sounds
a
like
D20, and then You just kind of
a little
narratively
bit-
kind of go through.
Sounds like I played like one session of Kids on Bikes, and it was literally like
Yeah.
the most minimalistic thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And we had a blast. Like it was great. Like we had a great time.
Yeah. Yeah. Or yeah, Edgelord mentions Easy D6. Yeah, we brought that up earlier. But yeah, I'm thinking about that, like where we're like we don't really need a system, but just kind of go through the motions of it and then kind of teach people to play by, just like slowly getting there, like rolling a D20 against the target number to, see if you succeed or fail on something and go, just go from there. I think that's a good start, but I don't know. I guess some people don't like that because it's not like a rule set or whatever.
Yeah,
Kids
it
on
depends
Bikes was
what
fun.
people
Though.
like. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had a blast. I think it depends on what they're into, like if you're into like because some people do like heavy or mechanical games, and that's fine. That's what they're into. That's not what I'm into, but yeah, so they may not like it because of that, that there isn't a lot there for them to wrap their heads around. But other
Yeah.
people that are a little bit more maybe, just not into that, they can roll with that and be like, oh, this is great. We're doing this. And so it's kind of like I played a 10 Candles, if you've ever played that.
Yeah, we played that.
Very narrative.
I don't mind
game.
I don't mind it.
I mean,
Jason didn't like it.
it's not anything you're running a campaign with, but it's a very obviously narrative improv game. I mean, the guy running the game, he gives you the open scenario and he has nothing to do for the next 45 minutes, but we had one guy in the group that he'd showed up. It was at the game store. He had showed up to play, I don't know, D&D or whatever, but there wasn't enough people. So he jumped in with us and he struggled with it because like being put on the spot like that, as you go around the table with, oh, what do you, what's your response, whatever. But everybody else dove into it. And some kids, guys I play with that have kids that bounced from D&D because they didn't like it after a while. They loved it. They my friend Chris ran it for them. They were camping and he ran it while they were one night, and they freaking loved it. They loved it. It's the only game actually. And the thing with kids, I won't go into. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's something in that game that you do at the beginning and at the end that really struck me. I'm a big horror fan anyway, so I was like, oh. And my wife doesn't play games, and she'll always ask me like, oh, how was the game? And I was like, oh, it's great. And that's all I ever usually say. That hit me, and I was like, I got to talk to you about this because this was like freaking awesome. Like it just sold it. The ending sold it for me. Like I was like, holy crap, it's great. But yeah, I mean, it's all going to come down to what they're into. If you got
It's
kids that are just more imaginative, that just want to, make something out of nothing. Those games, I think, are a very light system is great because they don't need that stuff.
I'm not really sure where my gaming's going to go because, like, right now we're playing Shadow Dark and I'm having fun with it. But I could tell you, this has been brewing for quite some time now. I am so freaking bored with standard medieval fantasy right now. I need to do something different. That's why I have these other games, but we haven't got them to the table yet. That's why I'd like to try Star Trek. That's why we tried Star Wars. That's why I've got The Walking Dead sitting there, Twilight. I'd like to try other games. Delta Green. I brought up the idea with them of Call of Cthulhu because Delta Green, I really, really like it, and I'd like to play it. But something about Call of Cthulhu and the setting and the time period, I think could be a lot of fun to run.
I've had a lot of fun playing it.
No Daggerheart.
I really liked the Western Call of Cthulhu that they did. I played that at cons a couple times, like scenarios from the actual thing, and then I've played at Gen Con. Somebody had like it was their own adventure that they set in that world that was also really, really good.
Are you talking about Weird Frontiers, or is it?
No, it's Call of Cthulhu
Chaos,
has a what's it called?
Down
Dark
Trails?
Trails.
Was that?
Oh, okay.
Is that a Chaosium one or is that
Yeah.
a third
Yeah.
party?
It's Chaosium.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a setting book and then they did like a campaign.
'Cause you have other ones that are like Pulp Cthulhu, I think. And
Yeah, this isn't pulp though. It's sort of like they're they do like Cthulhu by Gaslight. It's like
Yeah.
it's just a set.
That
It's
looks
just
good,
set.
too.
Yeah, it's just Call of Cthulhu, just set in the American West.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's actually pretty cool.
so if I wanted to try and get them in the Call of Cthulhu, do I need to buy anything besides the starter box to get going?
Nope.
No,
Starter box is fine.
Start
Yeah.
with that and then the free downloads and go there.
Yep.
Because they've got a free quick start. Well,
Yeah,
shit.
starter box
Push
is
them
good.
right into
Yeah,
masks
Starbucks
of
is
Nyla
nice.
Thorpe there.
Yeah. That's
Push
a
them right
friggin'
into masks of Nyla Thorpe there.
world spanning campaign.
I'm not going to start a 1.5 year long campaign right from the get go before I know if they like the
Probably
system.
more than a year and a half, brother. That's
You can do it in a year. I did it. We did it in a
But
year.
but I will tell you what I absolutely love
great.
about both Delta Green and Call of Cthulhu. When I look at the books and I look at the amount of handouts, and I'm like, I will gladly swap minis and terrain on my table for more theater of mind and handouts.
Like I can't remember the name of them. There's a company that they do. It's not Chaosium, it's somebody else, but they have like this whole box set of the handouts for a
Mass.
bunch of stuff. But Mass
Yeah.
is one of them, and that was the only downside to our Mass campaign because we played it during COVID, so the majority of it was online. And my keeper, my friend Kirk, he had that, but we didn't really get to use it a lot because we were playing remote. But still, the best campaign I've ever played in. Like it just was awesome.
Yeah,
The thing though with Call of Cthulhu or any horror game though, the big thing with those games though is your player's attitude towards stuff because you have to have a certain amount of buy-in and be willing to do less than optimal things, right? Like if everybody's running around, like the last we played Mothership and we landed on this thing and my guy was like the rules and regulations guy because in his backstory that I spun up real quick that he got kicked out of the military because he broke some rules. So then after that, he said, well, I'm not getting that. So I was the one guy that was like, nope, we're leaving. Like we got to quarantine everybody. We got to do this and this. And everybody else was like, fuck it. We're going to do this and this and run around and contaminate. And if everybody played the like rules guy, it's not going to be fun, right? It's going to be very not fun. So you have to be willing to make less than and you gotta like if you're so worried about like the well-being of your character, it's not gonna work, especially Call of Cthulhu games because you start off the best you're ever gonna be and you only get worse from there. So
It's all downhill from there.
it's
Yeah.
all downhill from the beginning, which if you're into it, it's great. But if you're not, it's
Just
not
the
gonna
idea
work.
of a whole world hopping adventure to me sounds appealing. And then of course it's what
Yeah, it's
set
fun.
like what late 1920s or something.
20s, yeah.
30s, 20s, 30s. Yep. When
Yeah.
I played Mass, the keeper was super knowledgeable, but one of the guys I played with is a history teacher. So like, I was like
Nice.
learning stuff as we played.
yeah,
I was
that's
like, holy
great.
crap, I didn't know that. Like,
Now when
you
you
know?
guys played that game, do you spend more time in character?
yeah, it was a very heavy role. So the bulk of the game. So long story. We played so we got together. We're like, I'd never played it. I'd always wanted to play Call of Cthulhu. And my friend Kirk, he ran a couple like one shots for us. And I was like, at the end of them, because we, typical, we died horribly. And I was like, how does anybody play a campaign of this? And they're like, well, you're getting like a typical campaign. The bulk of it is like investigation. And then then at the end, it's the big boss and, everything goes shitty. But with the one shot, you're getting the ending. So that's when he proposed playing Mass with us. And so the bulk of it is like, and I really like this. I don't like traps, puzzles, crap like that, but I really like investigation. So like it really, and our group was off the hook as far as it was very
I think I'm
heavy
gonna have to
with
pick it up and
RP.
read it because
Yeah.
I just feel like these types of games are gonna solve some of this itch of being so sick of this.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's good to change it up. The thing with Call of Cthulhu, one of the things that did for me was I was running 5th edition at the time, and I was getting disenchanted with it. And I playing Call of Cthulhu, like every like possible encounter was so tense, like real tension. Not I have to pretend anything. We're like, oh my god, what's going to happen? And you're not a superhero. You're very very fragile. Even with pulp, you're not a superhero. And I was like, wow, this is missing from my games. Like this level of tension is missing, and that's eventually why one of the many reasons I completely got rid of playing like fifth edition. I finished those campaigns and never looked back. So I went back to OSR games where you're not a superhero and things can be very tense without having to pretend that they're very tense. Yeah, it's great. It's great, and I'm a big believer in mixing up your teams that you play. I have one player that my buddy he doesn't like to do that, but I'm like, you're missing out. Like there's so many great games out there, and it can really revitalize your inspiration.
That's part of why I lost half of my group was because some of the guys just didn't want to try new things. They were like, nope.
Rooster.
Yeah, it happens.
Rooster's one of the guys that I played Mass with. Yeah.
And I have one of my guys at the table.
Very little.
We've nicknamed him Eeyore because he shows up and he's always just kind of miserable and down. And when somebody starts role playing at the table, you can see him over there like rolling his eyes, like. And I don't think he's going to last in a game like that. I think I'm just going to tell him this is not a game for you.
The thing you can do too, like, so my friend Kirk that ran Mass for us, he ran it for us and another group at basically the same time. And our group, it was cool too because you'd go in different directions and stuff. But our group was much more into the role play and really diving into the investigations. And from his description, the other group was very like mechanical in how they approached everything. It was just basically the dice rolls and then they'd move on to the next thing and da 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 da. So I mean, you could play it, I guess, either way. I just don't think that other way would be very fun.
I actually tossed it out there this week when I had the two players here, and one of them was Pete. And Pete told me, I asked him, I said, your wife ever played any games? And he's like, oh, she's tried some. She's played some D&D with us before, this and that. And I said, Eric, he's the doctor next door. And his fiance, she was like never into that stuff. But he got her into the Dungeon Crawler Carl. And he said she listened to every single audiobook and she loved it. And my wife, she's never played tabletops, but she loves fantasy movies. She plays, we've played MMOs all the way going back to EverQuest. She's still playing World of Warcraft now. She was playing it earlier today. And I said to them, I go, we've had this issue with our group. I said, if all three of us just brought our wives to the table and played something like Call of Cthulhu, I bet we'd have a much better game. Because first of all the guys are going to be on better behavior with the wives around. But I think it would bring a different dynamic. I know with our D&D games, we never wanted to. It was like, no, this is our time. But now I'm like, I don't know. I think it might actually be fun to mix it up that way.
Yeah.
I don't know about your games, but my games, with the exception, we used to have this girl, Jeannie, that was in our group for years and years, but she's not around and doesn't play anymore. And it's just been a straight up sausage party for years.
Yeah, my wife used to play with us, and she's kind of like burnout. We played a lot.
Yeah.
When we were younger and stuff, and like especially when we were playing 3.0, 3.5, like we were just every Saturday for just 6 to 12 hours. I mean, we were just hitting it hard, just going, and and so that like after those, I ran some things and, she but then eventually she was like, no, I'm done. I just can't do it anymore. The only thing that's going to bring her back is going to be the Cosmere RPG. Cause she reads a lot of Sanderson.
She likes those books.
So yeah. So she definitely like wants to play that. And I'm like on the end where like, I haven't read any of the books. So like, I don't feel that I'm qualified enough to run that game, So I don't know, but I'm just gonna do it. Yeah, imagine having a day where you could game for 12 hours. Yeah, we should do that again. I don't know if I can do it, but we should definitely do it. Take a break halfway between and pound some coffee and
doing that in a couple weekends from now.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, What else? I wanted to bring this up. Dan mentioned Adventures Dark and Deep. There's he hasn't played it. It's expensive. He's got the
Light version. It's one book only.
yeah. Is it Adventures Dark and Deep Light? Is that what it's called?
I
I think so.
think so.
Yeah, and it's
Think so.
I think it's $25-$30 maybe.
Goes to 8th
It's just a
level.
single book. Yeah. So if you're interested, do that. You know. So, but yeah. Joe can't game for 12 hours. You gotta take care of his cat.
Nonsense.
Come on, Joe.
Cats
Cats
will
the
be just fine.
self-sufficient.
Yep.
So that's all I got for introducing new people to the hobby. I think. I don't know if you guys got any last thoughts on this. Any other comments?
The only thing that I thought of that we didn't touch on is there are some I don't know if you consider them RPG or RPG adjacent, but like some of the GM list stuff like that's out there, like Fiasco, or what was it's Alice? What was there's another
Alice
one.
Goes Missing, or
Yeah, it's called something
something.
like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Those are fine. I don't know. Those are more like party games to me, and they're not like
Alice is missing.
RPGs. You know?
They're like in between products, so they can function
Yeah.
as like bridge products to some degree. I don't disagree with you. There's other sort of fancier, Alice is missing. There's some other fancier sort of narrative storytelling games like Fall of Magic and stuff like that, which are similar. They're just super
Yeah.
expensive. Those probably aren't for me. I suspect they're not for most of the people on this call, but like they can be sort of an interesting bridge product.
What's
So there's a
that,
whole group of products like that.
What's that map drawing one? I played that. That was fun. The Quiet Year.
The Quiet
Quiet
Year
Year.
is similar to Fall of Magic. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like those. So, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it's interesting, but like you need like the right people to play that.
Yep.
Like I don't know, like that's a very small subset of people that want to play a game that's about drawing a map together.
Yep.
You know, I don't know. I mean, maybe we should try it with the group at some point. I see certain people at the table that wouldn't enjoy it at all.
Ducato, you running any games in Central New York?
Evening? No. I don't even know if I'll get a chance to play. It'll depend on how the old vending table goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. No, it's gonna be great. CNY is gonna be awesome. We're over full on vendors. Starting to have to turn some people away. So
Are games even being listed yet?
yeah, games are listed. There's some more that I approved in the last couple of days. I have to put them through the scheduler before they'll show up. But yeah, there's a bunch of games on there. Game registration is going to open up. I believe it's the first week in April.
I'm gonna take a look and see if I can squeeze myself into a game or two.
Yeah, absolutely, sure, that'd be fantastic.
I don't know.
And I know there's like a lot of people that are, well, not a lot. There's a few people that are coming that are planning on running games with people that they know online and all that stuff. I think Double D is planning on running some games that I don't know if he's going to put them on the schedule. I think he's just going to run them for some of his fans and stuff that show up. And I know Joe is going to run a handful of games. Mike, I don't know if you're interested, in playing like Mouse Ritter or anything like that, but
I don't know. I was like, so the whole point of me going up to Concoction was just sharing a room with Pete. I'm not going as a vendor. I was just going to go play some games.
Yeah.
And, a couple $100 and go up for the weekend and play. And I figured I was going to get into like Troy's running Shadow Dark and Pete's going to run Shadow Dark. And there's the Down the Dark and Stare. And I was like, but I don't know if I want to go and play Shadow Dark since I'm running. And I'm thinking,
don't
Play something
mean,
different.
don't do that. You'll regret it.
I would like to get into one game just to see how other people run it, if there's anything
Sure.
they do differently. But But yeah, that I think I'm going to look at the schedule now and see if there's like, hey, is there Call of Cthulhu or is there Delta Green or something
right.
that I want to try. It'd be nice to get some experience playing in one because my group is never going to step up and run games. So it's either me or nothing.
Right. I'm still okay with running. I still have.
So am
run
I.
it,
I would just like to play one, especially for a new system, play it and see how it goes.
Yeah. All right. So we got any final thoughts on new players in the game? We're almost at the 3.5 hour mark. Nobody going once, going twice. Next week, Matt Tapp, Barrows and Borderlands. He's going to be on talking about his grand campaign. Looking forward to that. Going to get some ideas and stuff from him. And who knows? Maybe I'll end up running a Barrows and Borderlands game. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, so that'll be next week. We will see. We'll see everybody next week. We'll see you guys on the other side. Thank you, everybody, for coming. It's been fantastic. So everybody take care.
Bye.
See ya.